Welcome in, everybody, to the Dynasty Football Diner. I am your host, Dan, joined as always by my main man, Mr. Carey. How we doing today, brother?
Doing pretty good, man. Had a pretty good weekend. Ready for the holidays. So yeah, I mean things are looking up. Had a good weekend. We'll get to here in a bit. Just want to real quick say happy holidays to everybody listening, all you diners out there.
That's right. Happy holidays to all the peeps out there. This is Monday, December 23rd. Yes, I did say Monday. Normally we're doing this on a Tuesday, but we're here on the eve of Christmas Eve with our season finale and our end of the year awards show. I'm pretty pumped for this episode. I think Carrie is too.
Absolutely.
And, just to do a little bookkeeping ahead of time, we say season finale because this is going to be our last episode. We're just taking a small little holiday break. I'm taking, what do you think about this? How about cramming in a van with all the kids and all the stuff and heading up 13 hours away for about 9 days of who knows what.
It's 9 days of being home back with your parents' house, dog. Well, your home's here now.
Yeah.
You're a Southerner. I hate to tell you.
Half my life down here, brother.
Down in the South, dog.
I've known you for more than half my life, so I feel like that's an accurate statement. But excited to get up there and see family and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't get up there enough.
Especially being so far away.
Yeah. And as a restaurant operator, it's a
daunting task.
It's a daunting task. So thanks everybody for joining us. You can catch us on YouTube and Spotify at DFD Podcast. Please hit us up on the Instagram and at X at DFD_podcast. Facebook at DFD Pod. Please like, follow, more importantly, subscribe, turn on those notifications, especially in the off season. Okay, notifications are going to come so important because we're going to move to a different schedule. It's not going to be weekly. It's going to be every other week, but we still have so much cool off season stuff for all you guys.
Yes, we do.
We plan on taking the diner to the next level. So these next couple weeks, we're going to game plan, kind of map out our road for the diner, maybe do some renovations, get everything come back better than ever for the Super Bowl. We still have the Super Bowl spread version 1 coming out. So make sure you get on the Instagram because that's probably where we're going to have most of our content here, but especially the recipes and the Super Bowl spread. So make sure you get on there, DFD_podcast, and please tell a friend. We have so much cool stuff coming on, and we appreciate you guys so much, but let's make this, I don't know the right word. Do you know the right word?
Oh, let's see.
Unstoppable.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say. The hardest part about opening a restaurant is the first couple of years.
It's technically year 1. It's kind of like marriages. It's like, and I will, oddly enough, they say year 1 is, when I want to say it's like 60-something% of restaurants fail is after year 1, and the divorce rate in this country is well over 50%. And so I feel like if you are opening a restaurant, you're probably going to be in the divorce category. And if you don't want to be in the divorce category, your restaurant's probably going to be in the not making it category.
That's right. Now, for anybody listening wanting to open a restaurant or I know a great person to call and consult. Hit us up on the DMs and I'll give you his info.
Yeah.
But no, seriously.
I don't know if you're talking about the same guy I'm thinking you're talking about, but I know he's been through it all.
But no, seriously, thank everybody for sticking out with us. This is a championship week for a lot of people. I mean, at this point in the season, I feel like there's really not a lot left on your waivers. that probably haven't been picked up in the Dynasty League. But if there is, we'll go over some things here in a little bit, maybe help you out. But
Dude, I'm
congratulations.
totally jacked up right now, man.
Yeah.
This is championship week, and not only that, I know. Please check out our last episode, Playoff Madness.
Even if you don't listen to the whole thing, give it 60 seconds and a thumbs up. That helps our algorithm out a lot. So
Yes,
on either YouTube or on Spotify, 60 seconds, thumbs up.
but what I wanted to get to was that we had touched on, and 3 of the leagues we're in, including the one that you and I are commissioner of, or both of them actually. This whole losers bracket, fighting it out for the first pick in your rookie draft.
Explain it.
So basically,
this is to help with tanking.
Correct. This was originally created by a friend of ours, a commissioner of a different league, but just a friend of the diner. And what he did in his league was, if to prevent tanking, the losers bracket is actually a tournament for the first pick in the rookie draft, and not just the first pick, but basically the losers bracket is what sets the first half of the rookie draft order, right? So even if you come in second place in the losers bracket, you're getting pick number 2 in your rookie draft.
Yeah, you're getting slot 2, not just pick 102. You're getting 102, 202, 302.
Depending on how your drafts are, if they're linear or snake or whatever.
Yeah,
but we do linear rookie drafts to keep it as similar to the real life as possible.
Position 2 of the draft.
And so I am absolutely in love with this rule. I've noticed that this year, compared to last year, I am so deep and invigorated and just so dialed in on even being in the losers bracket. It's been fun. Yeah. It honestly has felt like
keeps it competitive all the way through.
It really does, and I felt like I had something to play for every week. I mean, I even, with no business doing this, went and picked up Amir Abdullah off the waivers this week, and the man got me a 20 burger and helped me get to where I got. So
now, let me ask you this, and saying that just now, I've seen online, there's been plenty of leagues with this issue. So obviously not every league does.
What, tanking issue?
No, not just the tanking issues, but not every league does what we do for losers brackets. Correct? A lot of people are like,
I've never heard of it.
They're like, once you're out, once you're in a losers bracket, nobody cares about you no more. Blah blah blah. A lot of people quit playing, but there's been a lot of instances where people on the losers bracket will go and pick up viable players off the waiver to support people who are contending for the number 1 spot to win it all can't get it. And people are complaining about that.
Right.
So what a lot of leagues are doing are just locking teams in the lose that are out. They're just locking them out. Which I think is kind of, I mean, a lot of those are probably redraft leagues doing that.
Probably.
But like in a dynasty league, I think it's completely valid. Regardless if you're in the running for any of those positions or not, I think it's still okay for you to go to the waiver and pick up players.
Well, Dynasty's year round. This is all. That's what I love about Dynasty is that this doesn't stop. It's
always there.
That's right.
And it's so much fun, especially when you get a sneaky little weird trade go off in like March. Right. Everybody's worried about March Madness, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, what did they just make?
I'm going to hit on one of those later. It's one of my awards. I was going to touch on an off-season trade.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, at this point in the year, we hit on it last week. It's time for reflection and, things learned. So, yeah, okay. So you want to go first? You want me to go first? We're just going to recap.
To the weekend recap?
Yeah.
I mean, I could go first if you want. I feel like you have a lot to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been on a different journey than you.
Yeah, so the weekend recap for me, I went 3-3, right? I'm in 7 leagues. I'm in 3-3. I have one more game that pins on tonight and how tonight goes. If tonight, depending on how it goes, obviously it's going to be a win or loss. But if it
is that our matchup in the family league, or you didn't count that?
No, that's over. There's no way you're going to win. But it's in another league, and it's in one of our bigger money leagues. And right now,
Hold on, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I need to I'm not going to accept that comment because what you've done is tried to jinx. What you've tried to do is jinx my win tonight because technically right now I'm down to you. You're up. And I do need 11 points from Josh Jacobs, which seems relatively
ladies and gentlemen,
easy. But I am not going to accept you
get in
saying
here.
congratulations on your win.
Before we started, Dan called his shot.
Wait.
Before we started recording, Dan called his shot. And I said, he said, oh, yeah, Josh Jacobs, there's no way he's not going to get 11. And I said, oh, you're already calling your shots, huh? Because Dan, in the show docket, has it written out as a win already.
It's technically
No,
it says
it's
pending
written out.
Josh Jacobs getting 11.
Dan has his record as 5-1 in 6 leagues in this spot. I called him and I said, oh, so you're calling it out already, huh? Calling your shots. So I don't want to hear nothing. Anyway.
Hey, no. Okay, to put a bow on this conversation, it's okay for me to call it, but I'm still not going to accept you conceding to me because that's bad juju.
Okay, well.
All right, fair enough.
In tonight's game, my opponent has Christian Watson left to play. Okay.
Ooh, how many are you down?
He has Christian Watson left to play. Christian Watson.
Easy for you to say.
Has to get 47.33 points. Or 47.23 points. So I'm not counting them out, dude. Weirder things have I've watched Tyreek Hill and Waddle both get 50 points in one game. Anything can happen. So until it's set in stone, I'm officially 3-3 right now. And 3-3. So I only have 2 teams that are pushing for the championship week. That's one of them. And another one we've already locked in, haven't we?
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Another one, I believe, is already.
Another one.
I mean, it could go either way, but yeah, of my 7, I'm only got 2 that are in pushing for the championship as of right now. So, I mean, it is what it is. I watched a couple games last week on just bad management. To be completely honest with you.
You also experienced one of those rare moral wins, but wish I lost. You won by exactly 1.0 points. And it was unfortunately just the 5th place game, which nothing for winning except get you one further draft.
One farther down draft pick. Yeah.
One spot lower in the draft.
Yeah, that was great.
But you won.
It was awesome.
I mean, you won.
We did. And listen, so I won 103.58 to 102.58.
Exactly 1 point, peeps.
Against the 10-4 Jive Turkeys.
Gobble, gobble.
That's right, Jive Turkeys.
So
you suck. No, I'm just kidding. It was super close, though. It really, really was.
The Jive Turkeys had a rare season where they thought they were going to tank, and then the trades they made ended up putting them in position, and they ended up making a run.
I'll tell you what, they really did.
So these guys are kind of set up. They have a lot of draft picks from the trades they made, but they still almost got in to the top 3. So
yeah, Jerry Jeudy came in clutch for him.
Jamar Chase. They made a trade for Jamar Chase, and that was about the time he was scoring 60 every week. So kudos to y'all.
That's right, boy. They gave up a ton for Jamar Chase.
No, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was the CeeDee Lamb for Jamar Chase, and then CeeDee Lamb got hurt, and Jamar Chase was doing 60 a week, and it just worked out for them like that.
Ain't no way they traded CeeDee Lamb straight up. Oh, this must have been way earlier in the season then.
No, it was week 9, 10, 11, something like that. It was toward the end.
But yeah, so I'm set up to go for at least hopefully one championship run. But anyway, why don't you go ahead and
okay,
let us know how you did.
So So I went 5-1 this week. Again, pending tonight's game for one running back getting 11. Now, so I just wanted to give a quick end of season review, right? Because you, all in all, like in general, across all of our leagues, you were in the winners bracket, I think, for all of them, right? Were you in the losers bracket in any of your leagues, or were you always in the winners bracket in all your leagues?
Oh yeah, I was in the playoff run.
Right. Okay. So
Never
see,
seen
that's
one of
why I
those.
want to touch, and I have just a couple things that like I want to touch on because not everybody is in that position, right? Because every year is different. Like you
Yep,
had a great
absolutely.
year, and
So just for context on my fantasy football, this is the first time I've made it with all my teams in the playoffs.
it's really like round of applause to you, man.
It's a little like awe-inspiring, but then it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work keeping up with so many teams because you're like, okay, cool. It's like I need their team to do bad, but I also need the players on their team that are on my other teams to do good, which
Yeah.
isn't going to work. So I just
For
need
sure.
my guys to do it. So this was the trade.
We're talking about the turkeys.
Jamar Chase.
Yep.
Oyster trade Jamar Chase for there's no way this went through. Jonathan Taylor and Kyle Pitts.
Okay. So Jonathan Taylor
And Kyle Pitts.
for Jamar Chase, straight up,
November 1st.
straight up.
Jonathan Taylor and Kyle Pitts. So when this happened was back before Joe Burrow went on his run. That's what I'm assuming. Right? It has to be November 1st? I don't
Like week 9.
I'll look it up. You continue.
Well, but also in a full circle, right? You and this team were playing for 5th, and the guy that traded for Jonathan Taylor,
He's in the run, isn't he?
he beat the number 1 seed who
Yeah.
went 11-3, and this guy was 8-6 to enter the playoffs. But Jonathan Taylor just dropped a 48 burger to get him to the championship. So like, it's so crazy how fantasy football works, guys. It's like, that's why I love this stuff, man. I really do live for this stuff. So basically, all right, so here's the deal. I talked in the last episode about things I've learned and, like strategy and stuff, right? Because when I got into Dynasty, I'm in it for the long haul. I really wasn't expecting to win right off the bat, okay? I've been trying different strategies, doing different things, and like I can live with that. But so here at the end of the season, right? I'm in the losers bracket for the first round pick, or for the pick number 1 in the rookie draft in 3 different leagues. And all of a sudden, in week, basically since the losers bracket started, right? Since the playoffs started, I am on fire. I'm talking 150 points
he
plus.
Drafted showed up.
Yeah, I'm talking about the team that I was expecting all year. And I dealt all year with injuries and just random, like, which is what everybody deals with. This is not just me specific. There are people across all leagues everywhere in the whole world who have dealt with the same thing I did. In one league, it was like, I couldn't make the trades I needed to until it was just a week or two too late. And I missed the playoffs by 1 game. We have talked about this in previous episodes. But during this playoff run, even for the losers bracket, I am like blossoming. Like my teams are doing.
It's stupid.
It's really stupid, Kerry. Like,
his teams are dominating.
and it's like the losers bracket.
It's almost like it's intentional. It's like I don't want to win money. I just want first round draft picks. So let me wait till week 15 to
so wild,
rushing people.
It is so wild. But Again, that just goes back to this awesome little rule that we're doing in our leagues. And again, it's so cool. But
I can't stress enough how we hate people who intentionally tank. Okay, so we set a rule last year. If you're going to play in our league, you have to start your best quarterback, your best running back, and your best wide receiver, and your best tight end, right? So that was it, because we don't have kickers or defense. So you had to start your best at each position. After that, you just fill it in. We don't care who you put in.
right.
You just had to have a full roster of active players.
And as somebody who was a part of that a little bit last year, it felt sleazy.
Listen,
Like it made it
me
not
and Dan
fun.
battled it out for
We
last
were
place,
for last
but
place.
Dan had my first round draft pick, so it didn't matter.
Correct. So, but it felt sleazy. It didn't feel fun. I wasn't happy about it.
It's
This
not.
year compared to last year has just been such night and day for
Yeah.
just joy of playing the game of fantasy football.
That's in the other league, our diner league, the other commissioner adopted the idea too because he liked it.
That's right. Why don't you go ahead and tell the diners about what he did to even add on to the rule?
So
Because I liked it so much that I would like to bring it up in the other leagues we're doing this in because
Yeah.
I really liked it. Why don't you tell the diners what that's
the reminder he sent out? So he sent out a reminder and said, because this is something we didn't discuss with the league, but it's a bunch of people like he knows personally, we know personally. This league's been pretty cool, pretty laid back, pretty active, and that's the best kind of leagues. Active leagues, people who trade, yada yada yada. So he went ahead and went on 11 days ago. He put out we use the Sleeper app, so he put out an all reminder says, remember you are fighting for first pick in the toilet bowl. The corresponding place you end up in will determine your draft pick. So he went ahead and put it so 7th place gets first pick, 8th place gets second, 3rd, 4th, 5th pick, 6th, and so on. And then he what?
Josh Chisel.
And then he yeah. I mean he went and did that. He agreed
Dude, hold
to
on.
it.
I'm sorry
but
to
then
interrupt. This stat blows me. Hold on. Most rushing TDs from week 11 to 15. Josh Jacobs, 9. Josh Allen, 7. And then Saquon and the last one both tied at 5. So Josh Allen has the second most rushing TDs from week 11 to 15.
Fun
All right,
fact.
sorry, Kerry. Go ahead.
Fun
My bad.
fact. His game yesterday was the first time he didn't have a rushing touchdown in like the last 7 weeks.
Just all right.
It's unreal.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you, man.
But,
we were talking about rule changes.
Yeah, our commissioner in other league. I'm co-commissioner of this league as well. But but yeah, he do we talk about this right now? Because we played him this week. Or do we save it?
We're talking just about the rule change.
Just about the rule change. Yeah, so he went ahead and he 100% accepted it. Like he was totally fine with it. He agreed with it. And at the time, he didn't realize that he forgot to change also the minimum fab bid on free agents. He meant to not have it at $1. He meant to have it at nothing waiver priority. So he went and changed that, and everybody was cool with it. And this is what makes up for cool starter dynasties. You know, everybody's cool. We discuss everything with the league. Everybody agrees or disagrees.
Communication is key.
It is. So and then he went and the commissioner, he adjusted the playoff bracket. And he made it fair for last place, 12th and 11th should be guaranteed a top 4 pick, not the other way around.
Yeah. So basically, guys, what he came up with was that if you're truly going to do a toilet bowl for the first rookie pick, okay, the people with the 2 worst records, what he did was he made it easier for them to get the first pick, because that was my one and only gripe was that, okay, well, if you're the worst team, you're fighting for the number 1 pick, which should technically, you need it the most. So what he did was he basically made the worst 2 records of the league get the first round bye in the losers bracket. And I thought it was brilliant. It makes so much sense, right? Because if the toilet bowl is going for the first round or the first pick of the draft, you should do everything in reverse. So in our other Superflex league, I was the first team out of the playoffs, and I got a bye in the toilet bowl,
That's right.
which not complaining,
No, hell no. Why would you complain about that?
but it makes my path easier to get the number one pick, which you could look at it two ways, right? Which if you're the first out of the regular playoffs, maybe I should get an advantage for the champion trophy of
Yeah.
the toilet bowl.
Like if 12 people, if you're number 7,
right, like maybe you
But if
should
you're-
get an advantage for
you're
the
number-
prize of
yeah.
the toilet bowl.
if you're number 12 or 11, you just cannot win, or your team wasn't acting right, or injuries or whatever
Or you
reason,
pissed it away.
or you just played the guy who scored the most points every week, because there's always one person that does that. And I mean, it does. It's a little more in depth than what we did in our other ones, but this totally makes a lot of sense, because basically what's happening now is that places 7 through 12, 11 and 12 get the first week bye week, so that means 7 through 10 all have to play each other.
Right.
So they
And
play each
then
other,
you
then
play-
they
right.
progress, and then the people 11 and 12 play them to see who goes to the
Which I
total
actually
championship.
liked it.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
the team or the leagues that we commission are 10-man leagues.
Mhm.
And so that doesn't even matter for a 10-man league.
No, 'cause
This
it's only a-
commissioner we're talking about, it's a 12-man league. The Diner League is a 12-man league. And so I don't know. I guess we're taking a lot of time to touch on this because
it was a good idea, and shout out to Andre, the guy we give the most absolute
always shouting out
shit to.
Andre.
Well, because we give him a lot of crap all year, haven't
I'm
we?
just kidding. I like
And he's
Andre.
commissioner of this league, and then that was he adopted the idea of giving first place of the toilet bowl draft capital, right? And then he went and made it even better by giving the last 2 places bye weeks in the first part of the bracket.
I thought it was smart.
It is. It's a really good move.
Intuitive. I like it.
And just for those listening out there, I've talked with Andre and stuff like that. Eventually, was something we're going to be trying to do during the off season, stuff like that, is coordinating with other commissioners and stuff like that, and other players and people, and having extra guests on the show. So that's something to look forward to during the off season as well.
So, yeah, I guess just to put a bow on this, I didn't have the season that I wanted to for a lot of different reasons, as I'm sure there's other people in the same boat. But I'm at least going to rest my head on not only did I get a shot at the first pick of the draft, which, by the way, in all 3 leagues that I'm not in a playoff run, like in the winners bracket, I had a sweep of first round picks. A freaking sweep. 3 for 3. 3 of my 5 wins this week were for the first round pick. And pending tonight's game, but like I'm up 80. I'm up 60. I'm feeling okay. I won't jinx it. I will knock on wood. Thank you. Done. But things headed in the right direction, guys. That's all I'm trying to say is that, with Dynasty, the clock never stops. So be happy with where you're at. Have a plan for where you're at, because I love off-season transactions. The off-season, a lot of people check out. I feel like that's where you can get
Yeah,
an
a lot of
edge.
people do check out.
But that's where the edge is. So if you have an active league. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for. It is the Dynasty Diner update
Right.
that nobody probably gives a good damn about except for me and you. But it's our podcast. So we're going to talk about it. We successfully made it through the semifinal match, and we are on to the championship. Well, I guess pending tonight, we are currently basically he only has Josh Jacobs, and he is down about 63 points. So Josh Jacobs would have to score 63 fantasy points to take us out. This week we had 100 114.4 points from 3 people. Oh, oh man.
Like crushed it, dude.
Yeah, our 3 musketeers of the week, it was Jonathan Taylor, which you and I talked on the text going into this week, and I said, listen, man,
We both agreed on this.
he was embarrassed from dropping the ball
So
at the
bad.
1 yard line or at the end zone line.
Just hit that Jets rookie.
He was embarrassed. And I
Poorly.
said, Kerry, he's going to bounce back. And my God, did he.
He asked me, he said, do we play Jonathan Taylor or Tony Pollard? And I said, Jonathan Taylor. Tony Pollard's banged up. Tajay Spears is back, and he's killing
For
it.
the record, it wasn't a question. It's just we have to run all decisions
Yes,
by
we do.
each other.
Absolutely do. 100%. Even when we go to
Tony
set
Pollard
lineups.
was hurt.
everything.
I was not a fan of Tony Pollard this week. So
No, I wasn't either with Tajay Spears getting more active and more playing, and he's fully healthy. And Tony Pollard's been banged up the last few weeks. I mean, he pulled through for us when he needed to, but it was time to not play him.
And again, back to that Jamar Chase trade that we were talking about earlier between 2 other managers. Listen, Jonathan Taylor, when you needed him the most in the semifinals to get you to the championship, 29 carries, 218 for 3 touchdowns.
Woo.
I mean, listen,
Dude, he
elite. Elite Jonathan Taylor. Like
40-plus yard touchdowns.
Elite.
1 40-plus yard touchdown. 2 50-plus yard touchdowns. Yeah,
he had 2 rushes of 40 plus
yards. Did you see the first one he got? It was like a 50-something yard touchdown. And when he ran into the end zone and then put both hands on the ball before he crossed the line, ran through the end zone all the way into the tunnel.
At my real life job, I was going crazy. And all my coworkers know what's going on at this time of the year in football. I was going crazy. I was tuned in. So we had Jonathan Taylor, and then, boy, I tell you, there was a couple times here before the trade deadline and stuff where these guys wanted to make you real worried. But then here at the end of the year, old reliable, my God, it was Brian Thomas.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen.
Again, 230 bombs 2 weeks in a row, people, with freaking Mac Jones.
I love Mac Jones. Because he is chunking it. Dude, every time he threw the ball to Brian Thomas Jr., it always seemed like he was wide open.
Yeah.
For them, because he went 9 for 13. So most of the time, wide open. 132 yards. Amazing.
Do you remember where Brian Thomas went in our rookie redraft? Look that up real quick while I keep going.
Was this did we
look
do
in
a
the
redraft?
show doc for episode? We probably did that episode 10, but I labeled it.
Rookie redraft. Okay,
yeah, what we did.
Yeah, I got you.
See where Brian Thomas went. And then also to round off the third musketeer of our 114.4, Justin Jefferson. I mean, this guy had me doing the gritty on the line in an open kitchen. I was feeling it. This guy was just killing it. And so other than that, we played Josh Allen. He kind of laid an egg. Kyron contributed, but everybody else kind of a middling.
Brian Thomas Jr. in the rookie redraft?
Yeah, that we did on the show.
So round 1, I went Neighbors. I had first
Just
pick.
where'd he go?
Third pick.
Third pick.
I took Neighbors. You took Daniels. I took BTJ.
So I'd probably move him up. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, he's probably in my opinion,
I would take him number 2 behind Neighbors.
I was gonna say Malik Neighbors is probably the most talented wide receiver in this class right now, and then Brian Thomas Jr. is right there with him.
And if you look at situation, Brian Thomas has every argument to maybe be the first wide receiver taken in a rookie redraft, because Malik Neighbors he plays for the Giants, and they are just absolute dog turd
but he's so
of a franchise right now.
Then they both played for LSU, didn't they?
Yep.
They were across from each other. Yeah.
Yep. And so, man, and I'm just, you know what? I'm gonna take a minute and I'm gonna say it, man. when it comes down to trusting the process for this diner league, and this is so just a little.
We took the full 2 minutes per pick when we did this draft.
We did, and even not the draft. I feel like we started blossoming a couple weeks before the trade deadline, and so when I wrote in the show doc, trust the process, guys. First of all, on a side note, I've never co-managed a team with anybody.
Me neither.
This being able to talk through all moves,
And both having valid points.
yes, and it's really about your information, my information, and we make a decision.
Absolutely.
Guys, our team was not going to sniff the championship like it is.
No.
If we didn't make some of the moves and the wheeling and dealing that we did. And none of our trades or anything were on a whim. We put the thought into this.
Absolutely.
We looked at remaining schedule. And really, that was the one thing. We really looked hard at remaining schedule because we were all in. What we agreed upon was that we wanted to make a run.
Once we got to week 9, 10-ish is when we decided, hey, we have a real
We're
chance of making a run.
That's right. That's
And
right.
we
We have the core building blocks. How can we
Mm-hmm.
get this team to chip level? And so I wrote down trust the process because, man, you know, a lot of these trade, and you guys are tired of us talking about this league, but you
Yeah.
know, it is the Dynasty Diner.
It's the one we pull the most info off of, so get over yourself.
What's the Dynasty Football Diner? I mean,
Yeah, it
this
is.
is what we're all here joining around.
That's right.
But the trades, like this team, I'm just so proud of. Like the trades we made have all come through. The people we decided to part ways with wouldn't have done us any good.
Nope. Listen,
Even the
So,
waiver,
we
even
traded
the
so
waiver
well.
wire pickups have worked out, and it just takes some effort and some research. But I'm just really proud
Listen.
of our team because we were on the verge of not making the playoffs.
but that game we did. The guy only had one quarterback. Remember, he only had the one quarterback on his team, and his quarterback was going into a bye week, and it was a must-win week for
It
us.
was a Jaden Daniels week.
Yeah, it was a must-win week for us, and we went and picked up not one, but both of the other two competing quarterbacks. We picked up Aiden O'Connell and Cooper Rush just to make sure this guy didn't have him.
We had Aiden O'Connell.
Oh no, we picked up Cooper
we
Rush
just picked up Cooper Rush.
to make sure he didn't have him. I wasn't
With Mac
not
Jones.
my proudest moment in fantasy football, but definitely one of the strategically best that we made.
and frankly, like I'm just really proud of this team, man. When you put in the work and you trust your process, like there were times like we were on the fence about Cooper Kupp or Debo. And at the time it was an even one. It was like, all right.
and
well,
at that time we were negotiating with both owners of these two players.
no, that's what I mean. We had our choice. It
we
was
wheeled and
Debo
dealed.
or Cooper Kupp.
I'm so glad we went with Cooper
Talked
Kupp.
about it. We went with Cooper Kupp, and Debo didn't work out. And so it just, even to the bitter end, peeps, stick with it and trust your process.
That's right. Sometimes you got to go with your gut, but always take into account of schedule difficulty, matchups, and just up in targets. Players who get targets get points. There's a simple math.
Well, and even like, okay, so even on the teams that I didn't make the playoffs, I trusted my process. And you know what? My teams are showing the hell out, even in the
Mhm.
toilet bowl, but they're showing out. And so to me, I can rest assured that my
That's right.
process, was right. And so that's what you hang your hat on at the end of the
That's
day,
right.
man, because
My process.
next year, Josh Allen goes down week 1 and he's out for the year.
That's right.
Your season's done. Well, not done, but your season is different than what you had
That's right.
gone into the season thinking it was going to be. And it's about that adaptation,
That's right.
or I guess I should say adapting.
Yeah.
Why the hell did I just
I
say
don't know.
adaptations?
Because you want to be smart
No,
or sound smart.
no.
But my process this year, because I love trading, and it has cost me dearly. So this year, my my whole thing this year was I'm not trading until week 9, which is 3 weeks outside trade deadline in most leagues. So I waited till week 9 to make any trades this week, and it worked out really well for me. I got every team that I had to the playoffs, and and then after that, it was just injuries or players underperformed or bench players overperformed, and it was just, and that's what it is. You just trust your process. If it's not working for you, there's always next year. Now, if it doesn't work for you 2 or 3 years in a row, then maybe you need to think about tuning in a little more often.
The process is always changing.
Yeah, you gotta be like Bruce Lee said, you gotta be water. You gotta always be fluid. But it just you have sometimes there's something. Yes, he actually did. He said you have to be water.
Okay.
Why? Because water is always ever moving.
It's fluid.
It's fluid. It's ever shape changing.
So, listen, if the Diner team can win a chip in its inaugural season, it just goes to show you that whether it's a podcast or a fantasy football team, it's possible, guys.
It's fun as hell.
It's so much fun.
It is so much fun.
It's so much fun. All right, Kerry, you had a quick question?
Quick question for you, Dan. On this week, who was the number 2 quarterback?
So,
one guess.
All right, so I'm assuming you're trying to trick me with this. So that's kind of where my mind's going, and just it's going to be something ridiculous. Give me Bryce Young.
That's exactly who it was.
Is it really?
With 27.12 points, he had 26 attempts, 17 completions for 158 yards. Not impressive, right?
Right.
That's okay because he passed for 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He had 5 rushing attempts for guess how many yards?
I know he broke one long one.
Okay, he did break one long one.
How many he had?
He had 5 attempts for 68 yards and a rushing touchdown.
Baby.
And a rushing touchdown. Listen, we originally drafted Bryce Young because we felt deep down in our hearts, it's like, he's going to come out this year. He's going to. But there came a time where we had to let somebody go to pick up. It was either for a trade or for somebody off the waiver wire or something like that, and he just was not performing. Bryce Young.
He had gotten benched at that time. This was at the time when Andy Dalton was coming in
Bryce Young
actually scoring points.
Bryce Young, since the bye week 11, Dan, his lowest scoring game is 16.52, which is he went 21 for 35 for 263 in a touchdown, right? With 3 rushes for 20 yards. Following that was against Kansas City. Following that, Tampa Bay, 23.62. He went 26 for 46, 298 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 rushes for 17 yards and a touchdown. Philadelphia, okay, not great. 13.54, 19 for 34, 191 yards, touchdown, interception, 7 rushes for 29 yards. Dallas, 1696. So these are all his better games, and they don't sound great. They don't. But for a rookie quarterback that had 0 confidence in himself, these are great points. 19 for 28, 219 yards. Listen to the yards, 219 yards. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He had 3 rushing attempts for 12 yards, 3 rushing attempts for 12 yards, right? Guess what he had in that game?
What?
Rushing touchdown. So Bryce Young I don't know what's going on in Carolina.
Shout out to Dave Canales.
Well, I don't know what's going on with Carolina's defense all of a sudden, but they've been putting up some close games. Now, obviously, Carolina's one of the worst teams out there. Bryce Young's not helping. Bryce Young's 23. He got thrown into a starting position at the age of 22, right? Immediately out of college, which is, in my personal opinion, Kerry, is a terrible idea to put a rookie quarterback immediately in as your starter. Everybody's like, oh, well, CJ Stroud did it. And then you got Jane Daniels who's done it and Bo Nix who's done it, this and that. It's like, well, yeah, that's fine. This year's quarterback draft was much more, or CJ Stroud, a lot of people were like, oh, they're really big on this and that. It's like, I hate to break it to you, but CJ Stroud, fantasy-wise, sucked last year.
What was he like, QB 20?
I don't
keep going.
I don't even know that. But he was not great.
I'll look it up.
Against on the road teams, away teams he played, was terrible. It was just really bad. But Bryce Young, I honestly believe in the talent of Bryce Young. I really do. His team is
QB 17.
Yeah. His team is starting to come together. He's currently the QB 26 this year. But his team is really starting to come towards the end. And I mean, it will go. Tampa is an easy team to pass on. But the 263 yards and a touchdown against Kansas City, that's not for nothing. You know what I mean?
So
that's
this is
great.
our end of the year award
against Philadelphia, 191 yards and a touchdown. That's not for nothing. That's pretty good for a quarterback that everybody gave up on.
I would like to take this second to nominate Bryce Young for the Not Dead Yet award.
Okay.
That's all I got.
That's all you got? You don't have a better name for that?
I mean,
you know what?
we get a soundboard.
Bryce Young could be, that bread you get, and it's a little harder.
I like this. Now you're speaking to my heart.
It's a little harder than you think, but it's not burnt.
Ooh.
It's got a little garlic taste to it and stuff like that. You know what you do with that?
What's that?
You cube it up and you put it as croutons in the salad, because you know what slaps? A side salad with croutons in it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's something sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Right now,
a crucial part of every great Caesar.
Yeah. Right now, he's a crunchy crouton. And in my opinion, he's the crunchy crouton of the year.
Crunchy crouton of the year award.
He's not burnt toast. I can tell you that right now. He's not burnt toast, but he is toast. But he's delicious as of right now. And you know what happens? You know what happens with players like this? He's going in his second year doing this. He's going to his third year next year. And if South Carolina, if the Carolinas, if they draft properly and give him an offensive line, because they still have they got Chuba on an extension for 2 more years, right? And they have Adam Thielen, I think, for another year. And then they still have Xavier Legette, who is so good. He is so good. Xavier Legette, who's good. If they draft an offensive line, they could put up more offensive points.
Did you know Xavier Legette? Sorry, I didn't mean to get on this,
go ahead.
But just real quick. Did you know Xavier Legette had a wrist injury in college that he never really took care of? And then it flared up and he re-aggravated it toward the end of this season.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that until
I didn't
today,
know it was a previous college one.
No, it was from college.
Yeah,
but
I didn't know
he's
that.
finally taking this off season to get surgery, repair it. Because he showed me enough to where it's like, okay. And look at the team he was on. So So if he can actually repair the wrists and get it all good, I think the arrows are pointing up on Xavier Legette.
Listen, I think I thought this last year, and I thought this because we originally drafted this guy, Bryce Young. I think he's a hyper talented player on an extremely bad situation. Same with Aiden O'Connell. I think Aiden O'Connell is a good quarterback, just on a bad situation. But Bryce Young, I think he's got the legs to do it. I think he's got the arm to do it. I just think he needs a pocket to work out of. And I think it's just there's a lot of things that need to happen in Carolina for him to shine.
We have a new award. It is the Godsend of the Year award. And I would like to nominate Dave Canales. After this man took Geno Smith out of the crapper, he took Baker Mayfield out of the crapper, took over a terrible Carolina team. Conspiracy theorists say he may or may not have caused Andy Dalton's car accident. Just kidding. That was really reckless to say out loud, but you know,
It
you
was.
never know.
Dan's opinions neither reflect
No,
this.
it was reckless speculation. But Godsend of the Year award, Dave Canales,
He did good.
my man. This man is just taking quarterbacks right out of the crapper and showing life. I mean, this is the awards show, so any new awards that we just come up with,
Absolutely,
they're getting logged.
Yeah, 100%. So for those who don't know, we're just keeping track of recording time. That's all, because we got the game coming on in like less than 10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, I saw the Monday Night Crew give their predictions already, so we're about there to kick
For those
off.
who don't know, tonight, because it is Monday night, we don't usually record Monday night, but then we got a Monday night game. We got it playing on here in the background. You can't hear it, but we can see it because you know why? Because we love football and we love fantasy football even more. So anyway, that was my question. Who the number 2 quarterback on the week was? It was Bryce Young. Believe it or not, he did it. He made a top 5 performance. Not only a top 5, almost a number 1.
All right, so
Toast report.
yeah, go ahead and take us away for the toast report.
All right, toast report. Starting off with wide receiver for Texans. Tank Dell has been diagnosed with a torn ACL, dislocated kneecap, and other damage to his left knee. That sounds horrible because it's a torn ACL. A dislocated kneecap was the original injury I heard of, and then other damage. I don't know what the other damage is. But head coach Demeco Ryan says Monday that, I mean, it ends Tank Dell's 2024 season. His availability for next year is up in the air. It's a terrible injury to have. It's a long recovery, and it's really late in the season. So if he does come back, I wouldn't expect him to come back until late next year. Moving on, Seahawks running back. Oh, this one hurts. This one hits home. Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker injured his ankle in the fourth quarter of Sunday's game versus the Vikings and was quickly deemed doubtful to return. That suggests an injury that might cost Walker more time beyond Week 16, especially with Seattle playing this Thursday night versus the Bears. This is something to keep an eye on. If you have Zach Charbonnet, I would play Zach Charbonnet. He's going to get 100% of the workload if Walker's deemed unavailable, which is more than likely the situation here. Falcons head coach Raheem Morris didn't seem concerned about wide receiver Drake London's hamstring injury after the win over the Giants. Quote, I believe he would have went back in. Morris said, I look forward to him being ready to practice next week, end quote. Just keep an eye on that. What it seems to me is that it probably wasn't that serious, but it was they were winning, and they probably didn't see a reason to put Drake London back in. It's like, okay, if you heard it, you heard it. So you could go back in, but just sit it out. We don't need you to participate unless something drastic happens. This one affects me personally. I'm sure it affects some of y'all out there. The Cardinals running back James Conner is questionable to return in Sunday's game, or he was questionable to return in Sunday's game versus the Panthers with a right knee injury. He was having a great game for you. He went down 117 yards and a score and catching 4 balls for 49 yards. If he is out, which is something you really need to keep an eye on, because this is James Conner we're talking about. This affects me greatly if I end up going to championship week here. He's been my 100% believed in him. If he's out,
Yo, ride or die.
Dude, listen, he really was. But if he's out, Trey Benson and Amari DeMarcado are also out. So keep an eye if they return or not. If not, then they're down to running backs Michael Carter and DJ Dallas. DJ Dallas, who went 1-for-1 for a touchdown for 1 yard. So it seems like Michael Carter's getting all of that, but keep an eye on that running back situation. If not, they're probably going to try to air it out because apparently, Kyler Murray did probably the best he's done all season in that game. And if there's no running backs, then I would count on him running the ball or trying to throw the ball. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts exited the first quarter of Sunday's game versus Commanders for concussion. It's his first documented concussion. He doesn't play again until Sunday, so this probably cost a lot of people their season. This in particular one, it probably cost them all their playoff losses and stuff like that. But
the number one dude
if
in
you-
our OG league, number one seed that got taken out by the Jonathan Taylor owner, he had Jalen Hurts as quarterback and Alvin Kamara.
was less than 7 points. Yeah. So if you have Jalen Hurts and you're still going in, find a backup quick if you don't have one. This is something you seriously need to keep an eye out on going into championship week. Jalen Hurts is a big time player for a lot of people. He gets a lot of points. So this is something you need to pay attention to. I hope he's okay, but I hope he doesn't clear concussion protocol.
Is there a more ass-chapping feeling than being the number one seed? You're 11-3 going into the playoffs,
All season.
and you've ridden Jalen Hurts and Alvin Kamara all the way to the promised land. And then in the semifinal week, I mean, that would chap my ass so bad.
Absolutely.
But
100%. Moving on. Ravens running back Justice Hill was knocked out of Saturday night's game versus the Steelers with a concussion. It's his first documented head injury, but Hill is a long shot to be cleared for Wednesday's game against the Texans. Wednesday's
Who is
game, Justice Hill.
Heard.
Wednesday's game is also Christmas against the Texans. The absence will likely mean more snaps for either Rasheen Ali or Keaton Mitchell, but it will probably just mean more snaps for Derrick Henry. I feel like they would want to save Derrick Henry's legs for the playoff run. So I'm not 100% sure how they're going to tackle that. So keep an eye on that. Here's an interesting fact for those out there. Bills quarterback Josh Allen had been playing through a fractured left hand suffered in the season opening win. The season opening win over the Cardinals. NFL Network reports that explains why Allen is taking just 15.4% of his snaps from under center this season, the third lowest rate of his career, but it obviously hasn't impacted him at all. Allen is, quote, fully healthy, end quote, now. The NFL Network adds context of how well he's been playing. So remember the first few weeks when all they did was run the ball? Probably because Josh Allen's hand. I don't know what to tell you about this week's performance from Josh Allen. All I can say is maybe he re-aggravated or something's going on, or they just decided to run the ball more. I don't know. But
James Cook had like a 35-point fantasy game.
Yeah, so they probably just decided to run the ball more. But,
they're playing New England.
Yeah,
they don't need Josh Allen to beat New England. They have.
They also had
superior talent.
They also had like six of their defensive players started.
Pick six?
No, they had 6 of their starting defenders out against the Patriots.
No, but they also had a pick 6.
Okay,
at the end of the game.
Yeah, well, there you go. But also, last but not least on the injury report, it's not really a football player per se, but a fantasy manager that I know. And I've known him for half my life. His name is Dan. He lost a bet we made earlier this year. Marvin Harrison Jr. is, let me pull it up for you, just so you know.
What was the bet?
The bet that Marvin Harrison Jr. would not finish as a top 10 wide receiver. Can you guess what wide receiver ranking he is right now?
It's probably in the mid-30s, 36.
It is exactly wide receiver 36.
Are you serious?
100%. He is wide receiver 36 right now.
I guess I'm a little tuned in.
That's exactly how I said it, and I called it.
Yeah, you did call it.
So,
I had more faith in the Cardinals this year. Honestly, I really did.
I had more faith in Kyler Murray than what he's been playing.
Yeah, I don't know. Damn Cardinals. Anyways, so all right, guys. So, question. Well, no, I gotta wait.
Yeah, sure. I get one.
What? All right. So, can I ask you guys a favor, all you diners out here? On a side note, I want to know. I heard the fantasy footballers on their podcast talking about when they were wrapping up their end of the year stuff about suggestions, and they always want to make the podcast better. And we all know the footballers are the best at what they do. And so I'm sure not everybody's suggestions can be taken fully seriously. But I just want you diners to know that in this podcast, 100% of suggestions can and will be taken very seriously. I just can't reiterate how thankful I am for all you listeners out here. And I just want to take a minute to, we don't have a formula for this. We're doing our best. We want to make this thing the best it can be. And I know a few of the people who listen, and I know y'all love to have fun too. So please get in the DMs, get in the comment section this off season, and let us know. Let us know what you'd like to hear. Let us know anything we can do better. Let us know some segments that you'd like to hear. And again, just one more time, thank you. Now, without further ado,
Yeah.
it is time for the second half award show. Now, technically, the first award show was only after the first quarter. It was only through
We
the
meant
first
to
4
do
weeks.
it quarterly.
Yeah, but life be life.
Yeah, it would be like.
So we have the second half awards, and we're going to give the same awards or the same award titles out that we did the first time, but we're going to update it because this is the end of the year. Are you really cheering because Josh Jacob had a 1 yard loss?
You're talking. I'm watching.
Oh, let's finish strong.
Yeah, let's finish super strong. Josh Jacobs a -1.
Second awards. All right, award number 1.
Yeah.
The Everything We Thought Was Correct award. This is the award to the person that the thoughts going into the season have played out kind of how we thought. You want to go first since you were just touching on it?
Yeah, everything we thought was correct. Marvin Harrison Jr. I said he was not going to be a top 10 wide receiver. Dan said he was. And here we are. He's number 36 on the year. I didn't trust the system he was going into. Kyler Murray is, everybody's like, oh, he throws for 3,000 yards. Oh, ho, ho, ho. It's like, yeah, but he also, offensive line got moved around. His defense is not good. He doesn't know rookies very well. He doesn't pass rookies very well. So
I got to tell you, my thoughts about Kyler Murray are different after this year, too.
Yeah.
Going into the season, I thought the highest to Kyler Murray. I just thought the injury.
As a Kyler Murray owner, I've been struggling all year.
Yeah. He's going to be part of a future episode when we get into going into last season. Yeah, my award goes to Danny Dimes, not making it through the season. After them getting rid of Saquon, it seemed very apparent that we had enough sample size where Saquon was hurt when he played with the Giants, and Danny Dimes, I guess the truthers, he was. I like Danny Dimes. I'm a Danny Dimes fan.
I like Daniel Jones too. He has a lot of potential.
He
but
showed me a lot this year.
Without an offensive line, he can't do anything.
I would love him to go see Dave Canales down in Carolina.
I wouldn't mind seeing him on Vegas.
Well, actually, or the team he's on right now, which is Minnesota. But if they got rid of Sam Darnold. If they didn't.
Sorry, these pauses are us watching the game.
It's just Josh Jacobs. That's all.
Yeah, sorry, yes. So,
all right.
Continue. He's a backup quarterback to Sam Darnold.
I really think the Giants situation was, such dog turd status that I don't know. Can you honestly look at me and say Danny Dimes got a fair shake? he got enough time as a starter.
He got the time as
But
a starter, but
system and
the offensive line, the system is garbage, and it's just the Giants have talent.
defense,
The
like,
Giants have a few talented players, but their defense is not good. Their offensive line is horrible.
they're just not good.
They're missing on. They're getting good draft picks, but it's just they need to buckle down. And if they were to focus on one or the other, focus on your defense or focus on your offensive line. Your offensive line, I think if they focus on the offensive line, they would be much better because they have a superstar. They got Malik Neighbors on their thing, but if they could focus on their offensive line, it'd be great.
All right.
Dan's over here cheering on Josh Jacobs.
No, that was Tucker Craft, dog. Dynasty Diner.
Excuse me, even better.
Award number 2.
Sorry, Josh Jacobs is stiff-handing the hell out of somebody, boy.
I feel like he could have got in the end zone right there. Watch this. Watch this. Oh, he tripped on his feet.
He got off balance.
Sorry, guys. For those of you listening,
Hey,
I
man.
know this is not good podcasting.
Okay, yeah. Anyway,
right
continue. Let's focus on the
We-
podcast.
Yeah, we always record on Tuesdays, and there's nothing going on.
For those who
And this
don't
is
know,
like,
me and Dan haven't been able to sit down and watch a game together in like 4 or 5 years. This is the first
been
time
a
we've got to
minute.
sit down. Yeah. Come on.
so we apologize. Listen, let's
Here he goes.
donate our
I'm
time.
gonna say Josh Jacobs right now, 1 yard touchdown.
Next drive. They're at the half-yard line. Do you want to place a little bet?
That you win.
No, that they're going to hand it right back to Josh Chisholm.
I bet you.
You want to do it?
I bet you what I just won off you from Marvin Harris Jr. bet that they give it back to Josh
I don't
Jacobs.
even know what we
$10 is what we bet.
bet 10.
Yeah,
A
I'm
10
pretty sure.
spot?
10 spot.
Is that on the record?
I'd go back and listen to the episode, but I'm pretty sure.
Somebody, one of you diners, let us know. Please get in the comments section. What did we bet each other?
You should
See, that's what you get. Listen, they tried this cute, cheeky shit. They
Listen, this is not what this
Josh
podcast is about. Moving on. Biggest surprise award. Dan, your first half of the year was the Broncos.
which turned out they've been surprising all year. I don't know if
They've
you
been
agree,
good.
but like
Bo Nix has been kind of
he's been a great surprise
he
too.
has, but he's been kind of these last like I don't know, like 4 weeks, he's been kind of seems like he's running out of gas almost, their offense. Everything's
I
been
agree.
you know,
I
their
agree.
offense and their defense has been kind of running out of gas, it seems like, or people are figuring them out.
I agree, but you
But
know what? Like,
this year or second half,
well, but compared to what they were coming off of last year, the Broncos were a
people
nice
didn't know what
surprise.
to do with them.
But my end of the year biggest surprise award is I just wrote down running back importance. I got to tell you, for the
You
last
don't have
2
to whisper
years,
who got the touchdown there. It was Jaden Reed, ladies and gentlemen.
for the last 2 years, it seemed like, maybe even 3 years, it seems like the running backs, every team had a committee.
But the
It
ones
was-
who didn't had dominant running backs.
But there was only like 2.
That's not true. There's a couple.
Listen, no. I'm talking, go back 2 years, dude. Like, it was,
Like who? Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Josh
but
Jacobs.
Jonathan Taylor was hurt. CMC has
2
been
years ago? 2 years ago, was it when Jonathan Taylor got like the number one, or was
That
it
was
2021?
3 years ago.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
2 years ago, he had the damn
But
ankle injury.
Josh
but,
Jacobs.
like,
Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs was hurt.
No, Josh Jacobs 2 years ago was the number one running back in the league. Because it was Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs, and no one believed in Josh Jacobs. And
Last year was his injury.
and then I
year.
drafted him, and it was great.
Either way, most teams were on a committee, and then the guys, Saquon has been in and out of injury. Josh Jacobs in and out of injury. CMC in and out of injury. All
Aaron
these
Jones
number one.
in and out of injury.
Derrick Henry seems to be the only outlier, but he was on Tennessee.
But his legs
And
are
so what the hell was that about?
His legs are the size of pine trees.
So my biggest surprise award for the end of the year, so looking at the whole season, is the running back importance. I've already publicly apologized to Joe Mixon. These running backs, these Josh Jacobs, like even Tony Pollard, hurt last year. People kind of gave up on him, including myself. This year, once I heard a couple interviews and he, wasn't healthy till week 14, it made sense. He gets signed in Tennessee. This man's had a great year. Just the running back importance. If you had a running back this year on your football team, your fantasy football team, that was a stud and actually like the featured guy, look at Brian Robinson Jr. I mean, so that's why my biggest surprise were just goes to overall running back importance. Like this year, I feel like the running back had a resurgence after 3 or 4 down years where it seemed like
you know what it is? It's
wide receivers king.
It's the running backs who are able to catch passes.
I also feel like it was a transition, right? Like
you're right. No, there was for a couple of years. It was wide receiver heavy for sure.
Then transitioning.
Yeah, I agree. And that leads me to my biggest surprise the first half of the year was Sam Darnold, which honestly surprised the hell out of me because he was on Carolina for a long time and he had okay weapons, but it goes to show you that Carolina has offensive line problems, defensive problems. They have talented players. They just don't have the support for the main position, which is quarterback. So this brings me to my this year, which Dan doesn't know who I'm talking about. And I will make my public apology. It's Chuba Hubbard. Surprised me this year. Running back number 12 on the season. He has 1,195 yards on 250 attempts. He's averaging 4.78 a carry with 10 touchdowns. He has 43 receptions for 54 targets, 171 yards, which is not like a lot for that amount of receptions, but he has it in 1 touchdown. Chuba Hubbard is my biggest surprise of the year because if you've had him, he's been an amazing running back to have in your roster. I know I've given Dan hell all year about him just because it's funny to watch him get pissed off about it. But that's my biggest surprise of the year was Chuba Hubbard.
Looking back, I was actively trying to trade draft picks and other players for Chuba going into this season. It was one of my best intuitions that I've had this year was the Chuba Hubbard.
That's a good call.
Because getting on early when everybody didn't realize what kind of role.
Yeah, and
all that. Like
Dan's been on him for a while.
So yeah,
he's only 25 years old.
Right, and with a new freshly inked 3-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
The Burnt Toast Award. Sorry, did I cut you off? Did you have any more for Chuba?
No, well, it was an extension. Chuba Hubbard was a good grab. I'm not going to lie to you. He was a good grab. Now, imagine if Carolina had a better offensive line.
Oh, Lord.
That's what I'm saying. It's like their team would be a force to be reckoned with if they had a better offensive line. Their offense would be so good.
And not to mention Jonathan Brooks. Everybody going into the season just thought Chuba was a placeholder until Jonathan Brooks got back from IR.
But no, he's been very extremely consistent. Just this last week alone, he on 18 attempts, he had 64 yards and a touchdown. He went 3 for 3 in receptions for 19 yards. And he had 1 rushing touchdown. So I mean, he's been extremely. What's the word I'm looking for? I just said it. Consistent. He's been extremely consistent this year.
And now for the Burnt Toast Award to the biggest injury of the year. When we first did this award, it was only after the first, it was after the month of September. I had Tua, who actually, looking back, since he's been back, the Dolphins have been a whole new team. Like Tua,
huge disappointment.
Tua for a fact is the engine of that offense.
People can say what they want about Tua. I'm a Tua believer. I love Tua.
Let me go first on mine because I have some questions on yours.
Absolutely.
All right. So I gave the Burnt Toast Award to Dak Prescott. Now, the Cowboys were in trouble anyway because I think they had a piss poor draft. Their defense was hurt for the first 2/3 of the year.
They lost a couple of players.
But when Dak went out, it was almost as if the red challenge flag came out and it was like, why are we even playing?
What really hurt them was their running game.
that's a Cowboy problem.
Yeah,
But what I'm talking about, at least when Dak was in, the Cowboys were always in it. At least CeeDee Lamb was put up numbers. Like the defense was also hurt, so it was pretty much on Dak's shoulders.
let's see.
Then the defense has come back, but with no Dak, I mean, like, Cooper Rush is holding it down. I'm not going to lie. But the Cowboys without Dak and no running game. That was my point about the running game is that if you don't have a running game, it was all on Dak.
Yeah.
But with no running game and no Dak, the Cowboys just look inept.
Their defense sucked. But to be fair, let me give you some numbers real quick. Cooper Rush, let's see. Since he took over in week 9, he had 11 points against Atlanta, -2 against Philly. I'm not sure if that's when he took over or not. He had -2 points against Philly, but since then it was Houston 17.36, Washington 17.98, Giants 11.8. That's when they had a huge rushing game. Cincinnati 14.82, also another huge rushing game. Carolina 19.06. Tampa Bay this week 15.28. Okay, that's Cooper Rush. Now let me give you Dax. Let me pull them up.
But can't you just, when you watch the Cowboys,
it's definitely different.
It just looks.
So Dak went out week 9 is when he went out. So this is his fantasy points.
You said week 9?
Week 9.
Yeah.
So his highest point total, 29.86 against Baltimore. That's very impressive.
Right.
Okay. So he had week 1 against Cleveland, 11.46. Against New Orleans, 14.92. Baltimore was the 29.86. Giants, 16.74. Pittsburgh, 18.38. Detroit, 5.22. Bye week. San Fran, 15.62. Atlanta, 12.32. And then he was injured after that, correct?
And that was with no defense.
Yeah, it's safe to say that their score, fantasy-wise, is almost exactly the same. With the exception of the one super game that he had, Cooper Rush is virtually been putting up the same amount of points. You are not
about to sit here and convince me that Cooper Rush and Dak are the same guy.
I'm not saying they're the same guy. I'm just saying that without the super game, with the almost 30 points a game, they're averaging almost the same amount of points per game. The difference is Cooper Rush is out there slinging it, and he doesn't care who catches the ball.
Also, they have a defense. That changes the whole game plan.
Well, Micah Parsons just came back.
That's what I mean. When Dak was in there, they had
literally last week
defense, which changes the whole game plan. And with the running game, like you can say Rico Dowdle's
definitely blossomed, and
he helps Cooper
Rush. Who's been on Rico Dowdle all year?
You.
That's right.
But the first half,
if Rico
Dowdle didn't do a damn thing.
If he performed the way he did in the first half of the year, it would definitely be a different story.
Yes.
110%.
Agree. He 110%. Is carrying the load. It seems like Rico Dowdle has taken the step up for Dak's absence more than Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush is just 100%. Going out there and doing Cooper Rush things.
Rico Dowdle has 100% stepped up.
Dowdle has stepped up. And CeeDee Lamb.
Now, how do you step up?
But CeeDee Lamb was also hurt too.
CeeDee Lamb's been hurt.
That's what
He's been playing through injuries.
We're talking about the same thing, my brother.
Yeah, he's playing through injuries.
All right, who's your Burnt Toast Award?
My Burnt Toast Award. Where are we at? Here we go. It's Taysom Hill.
Interesting.
A lot of people, it is very interesting because Taysom Hill, before he had gotten injured.
Please do not read off a bunch of stats.
I'm not going to read off a bunch of stats, just the ones that matter.
Okay, but okay.
Taysom Hill.
Let's give your argument.
So Taysom Hill throughout the entire season, he played the first 2 games and then got injured. He didn't play the third week. Played the 4th week. He got 14.4 points and then was injured 3 more weeks. Then played the next couple weeks and he got 6.2, 16, and a 7. And then he got against the Cleveland the 42 points. Then he went to the bye week. He got 9.7, got injured. So he was on the up and up as far as target stuff go, because that was after Chris Olave got injured. Okay. So he was going to be a huge key piece to this.
The Saints have been so weird this year.
He was going to be a huge key piece to this offense, and then Chris Olave got injured, so he was elevated, and then Derek Carr got injured, and that was it. That was the end of the season. So he was on the verge of going on the Taysom Hill run. Okay, if you don't know what that means Taysom Hill is good for about anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks of just pure dominance before something happens, and it got cut short. Last year, he did it for 6 weeks straight, and I didn't play him a single week because I was like, "Oh, it's Taysom Hill, it's Taysom Hill." And I played him a couple times, but I didn't play him consistently, which would have helped me out a lot. But Taysom Hill, in my opinion, was a huge injury because when he plays, when Derek Carr's out, Taysom Hill's role expands significantly. He expands from not only being a tight end, but being a quarterback and also being a running back.
See, that's interesting interpretation of this award
He's a
because
Swiss Army knife.
I feel like you gave the award based off of the fantasy teams, and I guess I was giving the award based off of like the real life.
It's a fantasy football podcast.
Dude, are you for real right now?
I just dropped some knowledge on you. Did you forget?
Moving on.
But I mean, let's be honest here for a second. Had he not got injured, and like let's be honest, had he not got injured as many times as he did this season, everybody always crap on Taysom Hill, this and that, but it's like every season he goes on a 6-week tangent where he's just dominant player. You don't know how to stop him. He's had games where he's thrown touchdowns, run touchdowns, and caught touchdowns.
Okay, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. He is a real I can't remember a lot of players like him, right?
You only get once he starts heating up, he's hot, and then for the next 4 to 6 weeks, it's what you get, and then he's not.
So
it's every season like that.
So I would like to introduce a new award, and I'm going to call it the Perfect Storm Award. Okay, because to me, Taysom Hill gets the Perfect Storm Award.
I mean, even when Derek Carr was healthy, he would go in there and throw passes.
Okay, but I guess here's my thing, right? The Saints have had such a weird freaking year. They're currently
they really have
like Olave out, Shaheed out, Derek Carr out. They fired their coach. They traded Marshawn Lattimore.
Kendre Miller is a valuable player.
In the doghouse.
Dude, I held on to Kendre Miller for 3 years or 2 years, and then I finally let him go. Now he's
like
nice. The
Saints. I just feel like Taysom Hill and apparently the interim coach, the Rizzler, loves Taysom Hill.
They do.
He loves Taysom Hill.
Love him.
And so I feel like Taysom Hill for a whole year award, like
his injury, I'm telling you.
Hold on. This is my last point, then you can have it back. I also feel like Taysom Hill came through in those clutch weeks, right before trade deadline, trying to make a playoff push. Like he
I think you just won right there.
Was the right place, right time, right stuff around him.
Every season like that. You know what I mean? It's every season. Like week 9 against Carolina, 16 points. Week 10 against Atlanta, 7 points. Week 11 against Cleveland, 4-2.
Game this year, he threw touchdown, ran touchdown, and caught touchdown.
Yeah, that was against Cleveland.
Oh God!
I'm not trying to talk.
No, I know.
I'm not trying to talk crap, but that's a fact.
That's my personal.
42 points.
That was a personal. That was a personal, lifelong.
And then he went to the bye week, came back to against Rams, and got injured. What I'm saying is, Taysom Hill every year he puts up these kind of points, but after this season, I don't think he's not going to be able to do it again because of the injury that he had. I can't remember what it was. I'm pretty sure it was like in his knees, but it's just Taysom Hill. Had he not got injured, he was going to blow up for the next like 4 weeks at least, because he came off a 42.52 point, went to the bye week, came out, got 9.7 before he got injured, and then he was out. That was week 13. Had he stayed in and healthy, he would have went week 13, 14, 15, 16. He probably would have took you. Honestly, he would have been a started player in a championship lineup.
Speaking of my Browns, the Grease Trap Award for the stinky filtered sewage underground that needs removed. I could very easily give this award to my Cleveland Browns, but I will not, because it just seems like an easy award to give. So in the first quarter of the season, I gave it to Doug Peterson in Jacksonville. That seemed to work out right on
Congratulations, Dan.
point. So I'm going to finish the year with the rest of the year award. I split it into two factions. Number one, I give this award to the onside kick rule. I hate it. It never really worked out, but like I loved it when it would be like third quarter, you're only down 7, and the kicker runs one way like he's going to kick it, and then he stutter steps, does a 180,
Like the
and
Saints
kicks
did
it
in the
down
Super
the other.
Bowl.
Yeah, like I love that stuff.
The little pump
And
fake.
now you have to announce
That's stupid.
when you're doing an onside
It's
kick, and
so
frankly, like
dumb.
the rest of the kickoff rules, I'm fine with after a whole season of watching it. Whatever.
It's
It
so
was
dumb.
always touchbacks anyway. But the onside kick rule, and like let's just check back to 2 weeks ago when the Lions were playing the Bills. Like, first of all, part of that was trying to be too cute from Dan Campbell and the Lions, but they had to announce to the Bills that they were going to onside kick. And then the Lions took the onside kick like 80 yards. Or no, maybe I have it the opposite way.
The onside kick rule was my first half of the year.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Good call. No.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
a
we
terrible
both,
rule.
So we both
What's the
agree.
point? What's the point of an onside kick if you have to tell them?
And I think I got it mixed up with the Lions and the Bills. I know that the Lions tried it and the Bills punished them for it. But maybe that wouldn't have been such punishment if you didn't have to tell them, hey, yo, we're going to onside kick it. Like, it's so stupid to me.
Josh Jacobs is about to destroy this game. Sorry.
And then
You're right. It is
also on the Grease Trap Award, I'm giving co-owners of it the Las Vegas quarterback room. Get out of here. Stinky filtered sewage underground that needs removed.
Let me ask you a question. What's worse, the Las Vegas quarterback room or the San Francisco's current running back room? They're reaching into the 5th and 6th string.
Well,
running backs.
to start the next game, yes, San Francisco, but at least San Francisco in their running back room,
consistent with it.
They have names that will bounce back. You would think, but
that's fair.
But the Las Vegas quarterback, when I did these awards, I was looking at the whole year.
Yeah, I get it.
And so for the whole year, you're talking, you're going between Minshew, O'Connell, and
Ritter.
Oh my God.
That was a fool.
Desmond Ritter.
I'm not mad at it. I'm a Falcons homeboy fan, but yeah, Desmond Ritter was a terrible call.
So that was my Grease Trap Award. I guess the onside kick rule, I'm glad we talked it up, but since we both agreed that can nullify each other, but the Las Vegas quarterback room gets my Grease Trap Award.
That's 100% understandable. For me, at the beginning of the year was the onside kick rule because it's terrible. It's just awful. And my second half of the year Grease Trap is Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper has been a hot doo-doo.
For this award, should we call him Amari Pooper?
We could call him Amari Pooper, but he's just...
It is the Grease Trap Award.
He was so good, and then he's just not. He's just not even like... Even if I drafted him, I wouldn't start him.
Should he have stayed with Cleveland?
Yeah.
I really think so, too.
Josh Allen does not like throwing the ball. He's not trying. He's not doing anything. He's running wind sprints that are covered. He's running wind sprints with a windsuit on.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing because he is so good. He really is. And he went from Dallas to Cleveland, right? Amari Cooper. He went from Dallas to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Dallas, he was great. Cleveland, he was great. Now he's on the Bills, and he's just... If it was me and I had him, I would try to trade him for anything you get for him.
I just saw that new award that was added. Sorry.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
distracted. I didn't
Bread
see
sticks?
that coming.
The
The Paying with All Change Award, which is barely able to get a plate, but he did get a plate, and he is eating. My first, after the first, end of September, how many weeks was that, man? It was like the first 4 or 5 weeks, right? Danny Dimes was eating. I gave my award to Danny Dimes. And it shows you how the rest of the year went, because then I ended the year with the award of you didn't make the season, and we kind of knew it. So Danny Dimes got the first one. I'm going to have to give the year. Listen, and I've been so impressed with this. Sam Darnold gets my paying with all change award.
He was actually
This guy has taken a situation and made the absolute best of it. Like, this guy has 5 touchdown games this year. Nobody. Justin Jefferson was going at the end of drafts because everyone was like, oh, Sam Darnold's the quarterback.
Time out. Real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's hilarious to me that you had Danny Dimes at the beginning of the year. Now you have Sam Darnold, and Danny Dimes is the backup to Sam Darnold now.
Right. Boy, how the tables have turned, man. It goes to show you how the first 4 weeks, the first 4 weeks are kind of a facade. And then the NFL actually gets into the nuts and bolts of a season, and you see how things change. But yeah, dude, Sam Darnold paying with all the change. He barely scraped together a plate, and now he is eating. I mean, Jordan Addison, you could start him as your wide receiver 1. Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, since he's been back from injury, is a good tight end. And that's all because Sam Darnold can feed these guys. It's really impressive. Aaron Jones, even, like, give credit to the Minnesota Vikings staff, but man, Sam Darnold, what a delightful surprise, like.
Yeah, dude, he's been crushing it.
Oh, well, so who do you think's paying with all change?
My pay for all change? Begin the year,
not paying for all change. The award. Let's
paying with all change.
Let's give our awards the respect they deserve.
That's what I said.
Call the Heisman the Hisman.
I said paying with all change. That's what I said.
No,
you're just not hearing right.
We'll run it back.
That's Ohio. And
the listeners will let us know. You guys make a time.
Begin the year. I said running backups because at the time it was super important to get them, and they were working out for you, like Jordan Mason and stuff like that, who I ran and helped me win a ton of games. But at the end of the year, paying with all change would be Chase Brown. Okay. The reason why I picked Chase Brown was because at the beginning of the year, Zach Moss was it. He was, everybody, Zach Moss, he's going to get majority of this, that, da. Well, guess what? Zach Moss got hurt and Chase Brown got his time. Right? Chase Brown was there to show you that he could be the workhorse running back. He can be everything that they were missing from Joe Mixon.
He looks electric,
a younger version. No one believed in him. I did. And that's why I have him in a couple of leagues, and he is crushing it. Right now, I will look it up. Chase Brown. Chase Brown is, can you guess what rank he is right now as a running back?
Running back 12.
11.
I almost said 11.
He is the.
That would have been scary if I would have said 11.
Yeah, because you've been pretty on point. But Chase Brown's running back 11. He's 24 years old. Okay, he's 5'10", 210 pounds. So he's a thick boy. He's a thick point. But so his last, let's say 1, 2, 3. So his last 4 games, okay. Reception wise, 3 for 3, 6 for 8, 3 for 3. Okay. His first in week 13 against Pittsburgh, 3 for 3, 30 yards, average 10 yards a carry, or 10 yards a reception, right? His next week against Dallas, 6 for 8, 65 yards, averaging 8.13 and a touchdown. His week against Tennessee. So Tennessee is a tough team. Their defense is not nothing to laugh at as far as running and receiving and stuff like that go. He went 3 for 3 receiving. He had 16 yards and a touchdown. But he also had, let's go to the rushing side of things. Pittsburgh, he had 12 attempts, 70 yards, right? Touchdown. Against Dallas, week 14. 14 attempts, 58 yards, no touchdowns. Okay, that's fine. Week 15. 25 attempts, 97 yards and a touchdown. Cleveland, Week 16, 18 attempts, 91 yards, no touchdowns. 3 for 3, 18 yards, no touchdowns. But these are things you like to look at, right? So if you're playing a full PPR, 91 yards in a standard scoring league with it be full PPR, so 91 yards, that's 9 points off rip. Okay. So that's 9 points plus 3, which puts them at 12, plus 18, which puts them at what? 13.8 points. Just that against Cleveland. Dominant defense. Chase Brown has been killing it all season. His first 3 games before Zach Moss got injured, he didn't do so hot. Since then, he has been on a tear because Joe Mixon was such a huge part of this offense. It was going to be hard to replace him, but I honestly feel like they have found the replacement in Chase Brown, a 24-year-old.
But do you think they're going to bring someone in? Because I feel the same way. But it just kind of feels like the Bengals are going to do Bengals things and just.
The thing about the Bengals, they don't like to pay players, but
so they'll draft.
They would
somebody,
be,
right?
but they would be so foolish to not pay Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and then Chase Brown. Chase Brown has proven that he can fill in the gap that Joe Mixon was there.
The Bengals are foolish.
They are foolish, but they would be dumb to not pay Chase Brown. So I don't even think let's see how long he's been in the league. Chase Brown is this is second year in the league.
Right.
So he's still on his rookie contract.
Listen, I like him. When I've seen him, he looks explosive.
He's so good.
I've enjoyed watching him. Like when he hits a cut and he hits a hole,
he's gone.
He's in there like swimwear.
But I mean, he's that prototypical 5'10", 210 pounds. So he's small and he's thick, and he gets it. You know what I mean? He gets it in.
No, you're right.
It's hard to stop.
The Holding Up the Line Award. This award goes to the award winner has shown confusion, often seems stagnated, maybe perhaps slow. Yeah, what do you got, Kerry? For the first 4 months, you did touchbacks on kickoff.
Hold up the line, Aaron Rodgers. Because the GM at the time did everything he said, everything he requested, and they still have a terrible record. He was celebrating, Aaron Rodgers was celebrating this week with his ridiculous dance and stuff like that.
I saw one half
as they were getting.
Was it a full dance?
As they were getting dominated.
Because he hit Devontae Adams? Is that
because all he throws to is Devontae Adams, Allen Lazard. He passes to Garrett Wilson in horrible coverage. He doesn't give the ball, I think, he doesn't pass it to Breece Hall, which is one of his most prominent things. He just doesn't do it.
Plus Garrett Wilson. I mean, what a bummer, dude.
Yeah. I mean, Garrett Wilson's still getting his targets, but it's like
Garrett Wilson's still doing his thing, but like it could have been all him, right?
But because Aaron Rodgers is there, they bow down to him and they play the place he wants to play to people he wants to play.
Yeah.
I originally thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be good for the Jets, but he's morphed them into a team that he wants full of super old veterans.
I don't think any of these guys are going to be back next year.
Devontae Adams will be. Allen Lazard probably not.
Not a fair it is.
Did Josh Jacobs just get a touchdown?
He did.
Yeah, we have to pay attention to that because if we keep scoring.
We're still up like 60. Honestly,
good game.
That's why I was paying attention to it. My 11 points are done. But the diner is still healthy. We are still going to the championship. That's right. Next award. Oh, I didn't even give my Holding Up the Line award. I just gave it to the injuries. This is happening every year more and more, but like this one hit home for me because again, like I was saying before, like my teams are blossoming here at the end of the year, and it just didn't work out during the year. I also had one of those years where I played against everybody's top scoring week. Like in a lot of leagues, I had the most points scored against, and it just didn't work out. And a lot of it was stagnated, slow, injuries, which leads to confusion. You don't know which scrub ass Giants quarterbacks throwing to neighbors. So, it just the injuries, and it's not going to change, peeps. It's not going to change. The injuries are here to stay. People are getting bigger, faster, stronger. They get less time to practice in the off season. They're playing less preseason games. This is going to be a thing here to stay, but it still gets my holding up the line award. This is one of my favorite awards. It's called the Too Much Cheese Leads to Constipation Award. There's no explanation. It's just too much cheese leads to constipation. What you got, Kerry?
First half of the year is Aaron Rodgers.
No, but let's get to the end of the year.
Yeah, you got to pay a bunch of money to be there. So going based off of that, end of the year is Kirk Cousins. You got paid a bunch of money to be there, and the first 4 weeks, he was great, 4 or 5 weeks, but since then he's been just awful.
Atlanta.
It's just been bad. He went 6 or 7 weeks without throwing a touchdown and nothing but interceptions, and it's just he's past his prime. He's over the hill. I'm a big Atlanta Falcons fan and did not like the agreement of the $100 million guarantee, but
now you got big Penix energy.
Yeah. But, some of us are born with that, some of us aren't. I really think Penix, he didn't do bad.
This is not his award. This is Kirk Cousins' award.
I know,
we will
but
only talk about Kirk.
I just want to say he did not do bad. His one interception is BS because Kyle Pitts couldn't hold on to the ball. Fun fact, Kyle Pitts has requested a trade.
Nuh-uh.
Yes, he has.
Who reported that?
He's requested to be traded.
Look it up. Give me while I give my award,
100%.
You look that up. I want to know the source because that's dope. I love that. I can't, if it's a reputable source, I am going to be so happy. Okay, my award to the Too Much Cheese Leads to Constipation is the 49ers. It just seems like, I've heard some people say unlucky. No, because the San Francisco 49ers have lived a long career off of being lucky. Okay, so I don't want to hear this. This to me is that they purposely ate too much cheese and in return became very constipated. Okay. Yes. CMC, that's a bummer. Okay. Because he is an absolute difference maker, a league MVP. And when you don't have him on your team, that makes a big difference. Yes. Greenlaw, last Super Bowl with the Achilles tear, it took him so long. Yes. Ayuk, ACL, out. But listen, these guys, it just seemed like they could not get out of their own way. They had a dude quit in the middle of a game. Sometimes, and I've always said this, and now that we're on the podcast airways, I will continue to say this so that way when I say I've always said this, y'all will believe me. But I feel like Kyle Shanahan, because of Mike Shanahan, he feels like, I feel like he thinks he's like the whisperer, like he's smarter than everybody else, or like he's on a different level.
I can't find the Kyle Pitts thing I found.
And frankly, I think that's preposterous. Sometimes I think he outthinks himself. Like sometimes you got to just stick to something. And it just seemed like he thought he was going to be too cute, too slick, and in return became constipated. Like you rode Jordan Mason till the wheels literally fell off.
Mm-hmm.
After Elijah Moore got hurt, after CMC's hurt. But what about Debo? What happened to him? You had a resurgence from Kittle, but it just didn't seem like the same 49ers team. I'm not sure if it's time, if their window's closed and it's time for them to blow it up. I'm kind of leaning that way. I kind of feel like if the 49ers really wanted to blow it up, they would get the most for their pieces now because a lot of their pieces are old and they're going to have to pay Brock Purdy if they want him. So I kind of feel like this is the time to blow it up, but they just seem constipated to me. And that's why they get my season long too much cheese leads to constipation award.
Oh, yeah.
Kerry, we'll come to the add in at the end. The 2 Eggs Your Way award, which is no matter how you order them, they always do right by you. And they can be done in so many ways. 2 Eggs Your Way. Can we agree the 2 Eggs Your Way is like
It's always nice.
Hall of Famer?
I wouldn't say Hall of Famer, but it's
2
always
Eggs
nice.
Your Way?
It's always nice. I mean, maybe they might be.
What is the first ballot Hall of Famer if the 2 Eggs Your Way is not, as far as the breakfast items?
So compared to what we originally put in for the first half of the year,
No, I'm talking about literally eggs and breakfast foods. 2 Eggs Your Way is the king, right? What else is so universally accepted with an option to change this, change that?
2 Eggs Your Way can go 100 different ways.
But they're always good, right? Because it's your way and it's eggs. So theoretically, it's harder to mess up eggs compared to a steak your way. A steak your way? Yeah, there's 1,000 ways.
Now,
But-
I feel like you're changing the meaning of what we're talking about
No,
all of a sudden.
my bad. I was doing a side note on just eggs your way. I turned this into an award for breakfast foods. 2 Eggs Your Way against any breakfast item for the award of the best breakfast item
Oh,
that does right by you anyway.
the best breakfast item is a breakfast casserole with white sausage gravy.
Wow. Okay. That's specific. But you're right, though. You can do casseroles anyway,
Yeah, it's so good.
but I wouldn't put that above 2 Eggs Your Way.
I would 100% put that above it.
There's no way. As a staple,
100%.
as a breakfast staple,
Yeah, breakfast casserole. Yeah.
when even Waffle House doesn't have a breakfast casserole.
Yeah, and they're missing out.
Oh Lord. All right, let's get into the football 2 Eggs Your Way award.
Listen, so the 2 Eggs Your Way went a certain way, then he's trying to make it out to be better than what it is.
No, I just made the change to straight
You
breakfast.
just said 2 Eggs Your Way is Hall of Fame.
In breakfast, I'm literally talking about eggs. Ordering 2 eggs your way versus any breakfast item, I think is the number one. Compared to the criteria, no matter how you order them, they always do right by you, and they can be done in many ways.
Well, that's different. It's 100% different because you're saying, would you rather have 2 Eggs Your Way or steak and eggs? Because 2 Eggs Your Way is always better. It's like, no. Steak and eggs is way better. 110% better.
I don't think that. I think there's
No,
some
you
disconnect on
casted
the
a
award.
broad net and you don't like the results.
No, my
And that
question
is
was
your
what breakfast food
is better.
is number
two-
one?
2
The
eggs.
criteria of no matter how you order it, it always does right by you, but can be done in many ways.
Honey Nut Cheerios and milk.
So who'd you have for the 2 Eggs Your Way award?
He wants to fight about this.
In the first,
he wants
in
to
the
throw
first,
fists.
the first quarter, you had Nico.
I'm sorry. Let me get 2 eggs Benedictine, and then let me
Charlie
get some of
Rose.
your hollandaise sauce on the side.
Listen,
No, I want that.
2 Eggs
I
Your
want
Way.
greasy 2 eggs scrambled with cheese with a side of hash browns
So
to go
see-
all the way. That
So
gives
see,
me a
we're
heart
actually
attack.
agreeing. You're not understanding. 2 Eggs Your Way.
You're
Can be
warning it.
scrambled over easy, over
When you
medium,
said-
over hard.
When you said
Fried eggs. And they can be done in so many
When
different
you
ways.
said
Over a campfire.
no, when you
in a
said
cemetery pit,
2 eggs
with
your way,
butter, with
Hall
oil.
of Fame players, say no. 2 eggs you ain't Hall of Fame players, dog. You're
Dude,
crazy.
2 eggs your way is a Hall of Famer in the breakfast awards.
This ain't Denny's. All right, we're not getting grand slams in here. All right, 2 eggs your way is just a plain damn eggs breakfast.
Hall of Fame.
If you're not getting bacon or sausage or hash browns or anything else, 2 eggs your way is plain and dumb.
I don't like that.
I want the sides, dog, because that's what I picked. I picked Jane Daniels with a side of Terry McLaurin.
Okay, all right.
All right,
That's a good combo.
that's who I picked. Because
That's
guess
the
what?
All-Star breakfast.
It came out of nowhere, and they are doing awesome. Jane Daniels is the top number 10 quarterback on the season.
Is he number 10?
I'm pretty sure it was him.
I'll look it up.
Okay,
Keep going.
you look it up, and then Terry McLaurin
I'll look that up too.
has been killing it. Terry McLaurin is the number 5 wide receiver on the season.
Wide receiver.
Who seen that coming?
Nice.
You know what's crappy is when I went in the draft and stuff like that on all these new seasons, all these new dynasty leagues and stuff like that. I got so many alerts and statistics saying draft Terry McLaurin, draft Terry McLaurin. I'm like, I am not drafting sorry ass Terry McLaurin.
I had the same.
And look at me now, foolish,
You want to know something
absolutely
crazy too?
foolish.
The guy that took over the team in our league where the guy quit, he had Terry McLaurin. And at the beginning of the season, when he took the dude's team over, he's like, man, my best receiver's like Terry McLaurin. What the hell am I supposed to do with that?
Everything apparently,
Man. And he made the playoffs. This is the guy who beat me in week 14, the last week. He also had Josh Allen and Khalil Shakur for 78 points combined. But Terry McLaurin took him to the playoffs, peeps. Good for Terry McLaurin. He deserves it. He was a stud. He was a stud in college. He was drafted as a stud. He had his first good year. Him and Jahan Dotson, who Jahan Dotson has gone to the cemetery to die. But McLaurin can still put up. And I'm just so happy for him. He deserves it. I really am. The Steak and Eggs Award. This is our, well, here, hold on. Let's go to your pop-up award. You ready? The Breadsticks Award. That player who came in the clutch before they didn't, like an appetizer.
So when you go to a place, no, let's be honest. So when you go to a place,
and
they bring you this free bread.
Yep.
Right? So you don't pay for it. It's delicious. You crush it, and then once it's done, it's gone.
Right.
Right? So my nominee for this was Jordan Mason.
That's a good one.
All right. He came in, CMC went out. He came in, he crushed it, killed it. CMC came back. He was suffering from a shoulder issue, and once CMC came back, boom, the appetizer was done. Your free bread was done. Because the same day CMC got injured, went on IR, so did Jordan Mason. But don't think for 1 second that Jordan Mason did not, A, tingle your taste buds, B, fulfill your appetite, okay?
Right.
Jordan Mason, I rode him for several weeks, and he crushed it.
We all did, if you
He
haven't.
absolutely crushed it for me, and I was very upset when he eventually got injured and enough to where they put him on the IR. And that slowly started the decline of the San Francisco running backs. But Jordan Mason is my pick for the breadsticks because, like I said, they're delicious while they're there, and then when they're gone, they're gone. There's nothing you can do about it. But this being a dynasty league, if you have Jordan Mason, I would 110% suggest holding on to him because CMC he's injury prone. Last year he went an entire season without injury, got offensive player of the year, but then he messed up both his Achilles this year. So who knows if he's actually able to come back and do well or not. But there's a person you can count on coming back and doing well, and that's Jordan Mason. So next season, if you have Jordan Mason like I do not drop him, keep him, and I'm expecting big things from him in the future. So, having said that, because I kind of threw this in there without Dan really paying attention for this category. So let's see if he's found somebody.
Well, somebody comes
It's
to
a
mind.
tough one. It's not an easy
no, but
one.
somebody comes to mind for me. This might not fit your exact criteria, but the player when I'm
It's
reading
just
this
a player
as the
that came
Breadstick
in.
Award,
They came in and did good for you for a limited time, then it was done. You got rid of. Deontay Johnson would be a great one.
oh,
You see what I mean? Somebody came in, crushed it for you, and then it was done.
I got you. I
Yeah.
felt like this
So
was
think about it.
somebody. I felt like this award was somebody who came in. You weren't expecting to be the appetizer, but after you've seen it, they could become the appetizer. The first person that comes to my mind, man, is Calvin Ridley. Everybody wrote this dude off to die. Okay. But based off his choices, he had the gambling stuff. He had the gambling suspension, and he had the injury. He came out of college with an injury. And so I feel like Calvin Ridley had very low expectations, right? Like, or at least fantasy managers had low expectations for Calvin Ridley. It was kind of a dart throw. You had Will Levis, the Mayo man, throwing the ball, which clearly he got benched for Mason Rudolph, so he's clearly not it. But I honestly think Calvin Ridley has been a delightful surprise. I mean, he spent basically 2 years out of the game, and then he signs with Tennessee. They had D Hop. D Hop was, I guess being old, but also like they had Will Levis again. So like once D Hop left, you finally got to see Calvin Ridley kind of come back to his old form. And so I really think that Calvin Ridley deserves some kind of award this year. So I'm going to give him the Pop Up Breadstick Award, which Statmaster Carey came up on his own accord and just kind of lobbed it my way like a grenade. But, just like in football, you got to be quick on your feet. So that's what we do. The next award is the Two Eggs Your Way Award. And I love this award. The Two Eggs Your Way Award. Wait, did we just do this?
We are on
Or were we
the.
arguing about
we are
two
on
eggs
this-
your way?
We're on the steak and eggs now. We did 2 eggs your way.
But I didn't give my answer. So we just basically argued and then went to the Breadstick Award.
No, we
right, so just to
argued,
tie a
and
loose
then
end-
I did mine.
Yeah,
then-
and I didn't do mine.
Yeah.
So my two eggs your way, no matter how you order them, it always does right by you. There's really not much need for explanation. That was Lamar Jackson. This guy, ever since he became his own agent and signed his own contract, and everybody was doubting how he could pass, this guy has clearly come out and just shut
Crushing
everybody up. He can pass, he can run, he's smart. He now has a grill, a permanent grill.
Let me see your grill.
Like, yeah, I mean, this guy is two eggs your way. All right, for our last set of these awards, before we get to the different set of awards, because this is the award episode, this is the Steak and Eggs Award, the most coveted award of the food awards. This is the MVP. We did the MVP of September. I did Aiden Hutchinson, and clearly that came down to a crashing halt. So now this is the MVP from the rest of the season since the end of September. I couldn't come up with anybody in my head. At first there was one little snippet in my head about Derrick Henry, but with Lamar Jackson being the steak and eggs, and Mark Andrews being old trusty, and Zay Flowers is having a moment, like, it's Saquon Barkley. Say Quizzle is, now, again, he was on the Giants last year with absolutely nobody to help him, no protection. It was terrible. Their best receiver for the Giants last year, I believe, was Wandell Robinson,
Yeah, I'm gonna
Steve Slayton.
It's either Wandell, Slayton, or probably Saquon.
But when Saquon was hurt, like I just think Saquon, yes. Anybody, I guess I'm saying that to say this. Anybody who's going to argue with me
The
that,
entire
he went to
offense is
Philly.
Saquon.
Philly's got the best offensive line. Philly this, Philly that.
Well, no,
I don't want to
duh.
hear that. Saquon, I'm going to tell you, Jalen Hurts has not looked impressive. AJ Brown was so pissed about not getting the ball that he had to do the squeaky wheel narrative. Devontae Smith has not had a good year. Dallas Goedert's been hurt. This team has gone through Saquon
Yeah,
and
Jalen
that
Hurts has not
offensive
been
line.
good at passing.
And at passing, and then if there wasn't for the tush push, which would have all went to Saquon, people with all these tush push touchdowns,
It was Saquon, or it could have
Saquon's touchdowns,
or it could have been Goddard's touchdowns, or
not
any of
the
the
tush
receivers.
push. I'm talking the tush push.
That's what I'm talking
touchdowns.
about. Right there at the line.
Those should be a Saquon touchdown. And Jalen Hurts hasn't had a good year passing as a quarterback. And so, to me, Saquon's year could have been even better. When I watch the Eagles, Saquon does everything. He had the fantasy football jump over the dude backwards hurdle move that is
amazing.
just Madden. Madden had to put it in the video game.
That was crazy.
To me, he's my steak and eggs of the year. Go ahead, Curry.
Mine's Josh Allen. It's fairly easy to see. Josh Allen's been playing all year with a broken left hand. The beginning of the year was kind of questionable just because, really just because you drafted him in the first 4 or 5 games, they just ran the ball all the time. But here in the last few weeks, he's been absolutely demolishing it. He's been crushing it. He's my MVP pick of the week or pick of the year in the season, whatever you want to say. His last game was not great. Let's see, I'm about to pull up the stats now. Yeah. His against New England, which is I should crush him, but I don't know what happened. I think they just really ran to James Cook there. He went 16 for 29, 16 out of 29 for 154 yards with a touchdown and an interception. And he ran 6 times for 30 yards. So it wasn't great. He took a sack. That's the first time he took a sack in the last, including that game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. Yeah, he was due for a down game, right? His last couple of games, he's been hyper scoring and stuff like that. Josh Allen, in my opinion, deserves to be the MVP player of the year. He's just been undoubtedly crushing it. He's at 3,549 yards right now with 26 touchdowns and 6 interceptions on 291 completions of 456 passes. He also has 97 rushing attempts at 514 yards and 11 touchdowns. So he's been just devastating it. And that's why I think, because if you look at it, he's got 11 rushing touchdowns, 26 passing touchdowns. That's 37 touchdowns, and he's just been killing it. If you look at his total yardage, he's over 4,000 yards. He's been just obliterating it. He really has. And there's just nobody else that's been around him touching it. And as far as total yards, let's see, 3,549 plus 514 is what? 4,063 yards. That's so much. That's his most all time.
Bro, side note, sorry, I didn't mean
No, you're right.
In the first half of this Monday Night Football game between the Packers and the Saints, Christian Watson has 23 rushing yards. Weird, right? I just wasn't expecting to see that stat. Now, listen, Diners. Sorry, did you have anything else? I didn't mean to be rude. My bad.
No, you're fine. That's it. I feel like Josh Allen should win it. For those who don't know,
He's going to win the MVP, right? Can we agree on that?
he's got to.
Yeah.
But for those who don't know, right now we're up 189.06 to 134.58. So we're looking good.
Just a little diner check-in.
Yeah, we're looking good.
So listen, I know this is a long episode. It's our season finale. It's the award show. But also, nobody's putting out content at this time. So I hope that all you diners who have listened to this, I hope you're breaking this up, splitting it in half. If you got to, peel 50 pounds of potatoes, maybe do an hour here. Maybe when you have to crack a case of eggs, you do another hour there. Just thank you for sticking with us. That's all. I just wanted to sneak that in there because this is big time for us. This is a big milestone for us, but I just hope you guys are enjoying it. If you're sitting down here and just grinding our whole episode in 2 hours straight, you're like me, you're a junkie, and I really love you. Now, these are probably my favorite awards, right? Because in the beginning of the season, if you remember, I think it was episode 2 or 3, we did, it wasn't awards at that time, but we did the I Hate You versus Blind Love list. I think we each gave 3 dudes that you just don't play because he's not your guy, or the blind love column, which was you'll blindly love this dude. And it was fun for me to go back and look at my list. I can read it later after we give our awards, but I just thought it was fun. We're calling this the My Guy Awards. My Guy. The My Guy Awards. Okay? Now, Kerry, I'll start it off. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You sure?
I'm ready, yes.
All right, so check this out. If I were to tell you in what week is this in the NFL right now? 16? 17?
16. We're going to week 17 now. After tonight.
After tonight, it's 17?
Yep.
You're right. Okay. So for week 16, this running back had 25 carries, 152 yards.
It's a running back.
Yes. 25 carries, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a modest 4 reception on 5 targets, only for 13 yards. But 4 receptions on 5 targets really stood out to me. Do you know who this is?
I've got a slight clue.
Because earlier in the show, I think you read the stats from last week for this guy, but this week, these were his stats. It's a My Guy award. Who could it be, Kerry?
Is it Chase Brown?
Dan has a Chuba. It is Chuba Hubbard, ladies and gentlemen.
Chuba Hubbard?
Yes. I think you read last week's stats because he kind of had a down fantasy week last week because he was going against Kansas City.
This week he had 18 attempts for 64 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 for 3, and 19 yards.
No. This week, he had.
I guess it was for last week.
Right.
I see now.
So this week, 25 carries for 152 and 2 tutties and 4 receptions.
See, that's what I thought it was initially, but then like when I read the stats, I was like, "What the hell is going on?"
I think you got your weeks mixed up.
It only posted that, and they're like the.
But after 15 episodes, if I'm ever going to give running back stats and not tell you who it is,
that's what I figured.
You could probably guess Chuba for me because
that's
I love this dude. I love this guy, and I'm telling you. And now Jonathan Brooks. Now Carolina's probably going to do something to screw it up, where they're going to draft another running back, or they're going to get a free agent running back. Like watch them bring in Najee and just ruin everything,
or like get an offensive line.
But if they don't, that tells me that they finally believe in this guy because Chuba's been with Carolina for years now. He's been here. He's been the guy. He came from Oklahoma. He was good from Oklahoma. They drafted him, I'm pretty sure. Like, this guy is legit. And I love this guy. I tried to get him before the season started. I was trading second round picks for Chuba, and I got him. And I have, this is my guy. My guy award, Chuba Hubbard. Should we alternate? Let's alternate. You go ahead and give your little stat line, see if I can guess. Who's your first My Guy award?
97 receptions of 154 targets, 969 yards total, and 4 touchdowns.
Only 4 tutties, but it's your guy, huh?
It's my guy, yep.
Oh man, this is tough. Is it George Pickens?
Nope.
Who is it?
It's Malik Neighbors.
He was your guy?
Yeah, I told you this from the beginning of the year.
You did, okay? You were, yeah, because you were so
Huge.
anti Marvin Harrison that you were like,
For good
Malik
reason.
is going to be the guy.
For good reason.
No, you're right.
Malik
So
Neighbors.
so this is Malik Neighbors' stat line right now.
154
97
targets,
receptions,
97,
1,000, 4 tutties.
969. Yeah,
All right, fair enough.
4 touchdowns. Yeah, that
Well-
was my guy because I 100% believed in him. And it's come to fruition. By the end of the year, he'll have over 1,000 yards. And I told you, Marvin Harrison Jr. was not the right pick. And everybody's like, oh, he's the prototypical X Factor. See, no, dude, the NFL's changing in ways you're not paying attention to. These big, large wide receivers and stuff like that, they're being X'd out by the smaller guys, by the dudes who are willing to go up and stuff like that. Marvin Harrison Jr., if you watch how he plays, he doesn't fight for the ball. He doesn't have that dog in him. He just doesn't.
I disagree with you.
No, okay, then go back and watch all of his things because
I will.
he gives up on routes. He doesn't jump up and try to fight for the ball. He doesn't do any of that. And that's why he's a wide receiver 36 on this season instead of a top 10 like everybody thought it was going to be.
Okay. He has definitely had a disappointing season.
Yeah, and everybody's like, oh, well, he's the only receiver on the team. It's like, yeah, but it's for Kyler Murray.
All right, so I have a
Kyler
new
Murray
award.
throws a ton of contested passes.
I have a new award.
Okay.
It's
Suddenly,
called the Stop Hating Award,
I will not.
and I give it to you. Moving on, the My Guy Award.
No, you give it to me all you want to because I'm right. I'm right.
If you want to take a rookie season in consideration, yes. He
No,
did
I was
not have,
correct 100%. I told you at the beginning of this season, Marvin Harrison Jr. was not going to be a top 10 wide receiver. And everybody's like, oh, well, he's the only wide receiver Kyler Murray has. Blah, 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 blah. And what did I tell you? What if Kyler Murray does not perform well?
Well,
But
right.
the problem is if we go back, let's look at it right now. Let's see what Marvin Harrison Jr. is looking like. Harrison.
So he has 726 yards.
Okay, so he has 726 yards. He is 51 for 100 targets. 100 targets. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Okay. Malik Neighbors, 154 targets.
How many touchdowns?
He has 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
Malik-
you know how many Harrison has?
yeah, he leads the rookies in touchdowns up until about 2 weeks ago before
Brian Thomas,
before Brian Thomas. Yeah.
right?
So yeah, he leads the league in touchdowns.
Okay,
Yeah, so he has 3 more touchdowns and like almost
Okay.
300 less yards.
that's cool.
What I'm saying is that Marvin Harrison Jr. might be the prototypical X factor wide receiver for the NFL, but the NFL is changing. And you're damn lie if you don't think it is, because you look at these smaller wide receivers that are doing better, that are catching more balls, that are playing better. Marvin Harrison Jr. is not putting up a fight. He's not going up for contested passes like he should be. He's not catching him and Kyle Murray are not melded together. And when I say that, if you watch passes, Kyle Murray puts the ball right in the pocket, but Marvin Harrison Jr. turns the other way. Literally will turn in a different direction, expecting the pass to be there and then go behind them. So at the end of the day, they didn't get the mind meld everybody thought they were going to get. They didn't get that together because, and I reiterate this, and it's going to piss you off. What college did Marvin Harrison Jr. play for again?
The Ohio State University.
How many top 10 teams did they play against?
Oh, dude, you're tripping.
You can say all you want to. No, Dan, look at me. You can say all you want to. They played one top 10 team last year, and it was Michigan. And they lost to Michigan. The rest of the teams were garbage teams. They got padded stats. I'm not saying that Marvin Harrison Jr. will not. No, listen to what. Let me finish. I'm not saying he won't be a great NFL wide receiver, but the first 2 years, he is not going to do well. He is a long play that he eventually will be good, but with his quarterback, Kyler Murray, who he's not used to catching passes from, who he's not used to turning in the direction the passes are coming from him, and he does not go up for these contested balls. He does not play hard football, okay? He played against a bunch of soft teams, but he is, in my opinion, I give him 2 years. By year 3, he will be an amazing wide receiver to own.
Yeah.
By year 3.
Some time.
But this first year rookie season, like I told you, he is not going to be good.
I think the Cardinals.
I think you overestimated how good Kyler Murray was, because Kyler Murray's a 3,000 yard.
That good.
He's a 3,000 yard quarterback passing and a rushing.
Well,
he's not doing good.
And if you really want to know my mindset, what I underestimated was James Conner.
Yeah, you did.
To me, I think most people did. Okay, so I went into the season thinking that Arizona, Kyler Murray coming off his injury, and, they looked good toward the end of last year. After he got off his ACL,
100%.
It took him a couple weeks, but then they finished the season really strong. But they finished the season throwing the ball. I thought, Trey McBride hasn't even scored a touchdown this year.
No,
that's
sucks.
crazy.
That's terrible.
So, to me, I look at it like if Trey McBride, who's like leading receptions on so many.
God, he's so good.
He's so good. If he doesn't have a touchdown,
wide open so much.
If he doesn't have a touchdown, to me, I can't fairly compare Kyler, Marvin, Trey McBride. To me, this was the James Conner effect, because James Conner, this is the best season I can ever remember. And I remember James Conner playing with the Steelers, beating the Browns' ass up and down the field. Because I live the AFC North.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've hated the Steelers forever because they always beat the Browns. Yeah. It's really tough.
James Conner in 2023 had 1,000 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns. This year he's got over 1,000. He's got 50 more yards and 1 more touchdown. I fully believed in the legs of Kyler Murray and James Conner. I 100% believed in that. I didn't believe in James Conner's arm because he's a 3,000 yard passer, right?
James Conner's
not James Conner.
Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray. He's a 3,000 yard passer on his best season. This season they went 7-0. Back in 2021, he had, back in 2021, you know how many yards he threw for?
How many?
752. You know how many touchdowns that was?
How many?
No, just guess. Not honest guess. It's 752 yards on 202 attempts.
202 attempts.
How many touchdowns do you think he threw for that year?
What year was this? 2 years
2021.
ago? No. What
Back
year?
when 2021, when the Cardinals went 7-0 starting off. His best season ever.
Heard.
How many passing touchdowns do you think James
16.
Sorry, that's James Conner.
No, it's probably more like 26.
How many touchdowns do you think James Conner had then?
Oh, James Conner?
Yeah. In 2021.
Oh, man.
Let's go to Kyler Murray real quick. Sorry, that's my fault. I pulled the wrong player. So in 2021, let's see, 2021, Kyler Murray had 333 completions of 481 for 3,787 yards. His most since 2020. Kyle Murray had how many touchdowns at 3,787 yards? How many
Said
touchdowns?
3 years ago.
This is 2021. This is second most ever touchdowns.
30.
24. Yeah, 24 touchdowns in 2021. How many rushing touchdowns did James Conner have that year?
Did he play for the Steelers or the Cardinals?
With the Cardinals. 11.
I was going to say 14.
Yeah, 11 rushing touchdowns. James Conner, his best passing season, okay? He got drafted 2019, okay? To the Cardinals. He got drafted 2019. He had 3,722 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, okay? He had 544 rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. 2020, he had 3,971 yards, 26 touchdowns, best ever, 12 interceptions, rushing yards, 819, 11 rushing touchdowns. This was what everybody's expecting him to do. This was the year that he went 7-0. Okay. 2021, 3,787 yards, 24 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 423 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns, right? Since then, since 2021,
Stat master.
yeah, this is what I do. Since then, since 2021, he has gone downhill. Okay. His 2022 was when he started getting injured. He had 2,368 yards, 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Okay. So for every 2 touchdowns, he threw an interception. His rushing yards was 418. He had 3 rushing touchdowns. 2023, 1,799 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, with 244 rushing touchdowns and 3 touchdowns. Okay, so he was injured that year. This year, how many yards has Kyler Murray thrown?
How many yards?
Yep, I give you the completion. 314 out of 450.
He's like at 3,000 yards.
Yep, 3,288 yards, right?
Okay.
How many touchdowns?
Well, if he has 7 to Marvin Harrison, then I would assume 0 to Trey McBride. Michael Wilson's caught 2 or 3. James Conner probably has 2. So what? Like his passing touchdowns would be like what? 12?
16.
Okay.
How many interceptions do you think? This is big.
What is it, like 4?
9.
12 and 9?
16 touchdowns.
16 and 9.
9 interceptions. How many rushing yards do you think he has this year?
Well, he had that big long rushing tutty. I mean,
third all time.
This is what Kyler Murray. This is what Kyler Murray does.
518 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. That's what he does. You're absolutely right. That's what he does. Okay. So out of the 3,288 yards, how many of those do you think are Marvin Harrison?
Marvin Harrison has just under 800 yards. So if he has 1,600, how many yards?
Marvin Harrison?
No, I'm talking about Kyler.
It was matter. Like 3,200 or something.
Marvin Harrison has like just under 800.
No, he has 726.
Okay.
He's 51 on 100 targets, and he has 7 touchdowns. What I'm saying is that Kyler Murray is a very wish-washy quarterback, right? But he is used to passing to the people he throws to. He has the Aaron Rodgers effect. He does not pass to rookies very well, right? Because before Marvin Harrison, who did he have? He had D-Hop, right?
Yeah, he seems like after all this...
He doesn't throw to rookies. He throws to them, but their passes are not good because they're not melded together. You can say whatever you want. Oh, his offensive line sucks. This not does. His offensive lines always suck.
No,
Don't give me that shit.
I was just trying to think about who's the last Arizona rookie wide receiver they drafted.
Exactly.
Before Marvin Harrison.
It's been a very long time since they've had a stud like that. I think the last one was Wilson.
Did they draft Michael Wilson?
I think they did. I'll check.
So my second My Guy award, like this was before the game started tonight,
we
too,
went,
peeps.
we went way off topic.
Yeah, we went on a deep dive.
Sorry.
It was a deep dive award. Deep dive award goes to
Michael Wilson.
Statmaster Carey.
Listen,
My
I'm just
second
saying,
My Guy award goes to Josh Jacobs. This
great
is
pick.
before Monday night's football game. Okay. I made an off-season trade for this guy. This is why this guy gets my award.
And he
I made
said,
an off-season trade when
Crusty
he was
Musty
with the
Dusty.
Raiders.
Crusty Musty Dusty.
Yes,
Because he was.
he was. And I said that. I was on the record as saying, man, he's dust.
110%.
But he, at the time when he was on the Raiders, he was the man. Like the Raiders had changed in the offseason with a new quarterback. Like this was the freaking man.
I would go on record saying it was a crap trade. But that's just me because I believed in Josh Jacobs.
First of all, no, it wasn't. But okay. So I wanted Josh Jacobs because I wanted a running back. I was lacking running back, and I wanted a true number one.
It fulfilled both the teams in the trades needs. It did. It did 100%.
That is true. But going into it, I wanted a running back that I could count on as a number one. Okay. So Josh Jacobs was with the Raiders. I traded 2 seconds and I think Brian Robinson Jr. for the Washington Commanders. Okay. And I got Josh Jacobs with the Raiders. I got the Raiders Jacobs. I would say a month after this trade, he went to the Packers.
You get the Raiders, Josh Jacobs, but after the news broke that they weren't going to re-sign him.
No.
Yes, you did.
Okay. Well, if you want to do my timeline, I'm pretty sure.
I remember this because it's between a very close friend of ours.
No, I know, but he was still the number one for the Raiders.
Yeah, and the guy
But he was going into free agency.
The guy he got Josh Jacobs from, the team sucked. It was so bad. So it was a good trade for him and Dan because Dan gave up exactly what this guy in particularly needed for the team. I think it was like 2 draft picks and a backup running
And
back
Jacobs was still with the Raiders. So
Yeah.
it was like you really didn't know what the Raiders were going to be. And then
it was a fair
like
trade.
2 or 3 weeks after this trade, he got traded to Packers. And he has been nothing but
That's chapped my buddy's
awesome.
ass the entire time.
He's been awesome. So he gets the My Guy award. 3 years ago now, 2 years I gave up on him, but 3 years ago,
That was my boy.
Josh Jacobs was my guy.
I
Love Josh Jacobs.
I traded for Josh Jacobs late that season before he exploded and was getting like 106 yards a game.
Exactly. So we can get on board with that.
Yeah, I love Josh Jacobs.
And then he had the down year, and I said, you know what? I'm going to take a chance that the Raiders, that they didn't have anybody else. It just seemed the right thing to do. And so I was all in on Josh Jacobs.
It definitely helped out the guy who was giving away Josh Jacobs.
Oh, you know what? No. I traded 2 seconds and Antonio Gibson to Washington because the manager that I traded had Brian Robinson and he wanted the backup.
Yep.
Okay. But with the Raiders being so crap and Josh Jacobs being on such a down season, it really seemed so fair at that time.
It is 100%.
I mean, still, like even today, that was a fair trade. Okay. But now seeing what Josh Jacobs does on Green Bay, wowza.
Yeah.
Wowza. All right, go ahead, Kerry. Give your next My Guy award.
My Guy award goes to Joe Mixon.
Let's try to keep it under 30 minutes.
Yeah. Joe Mixon. Listen, I've been high on Joe Mixon for quite some time. And at times of the season, there's been points where he's been the number one running back. Then now he's dropped back to I think he's like 14 or something like that, or 12. Let's see. Yeah, he's number 13 running back. But he's the number 13 running back with the absence of week 3, 4, and 5. Had he not got injured and he played those weeks, he would easily be a top 5 running back. Joe Mixon, he's a little bit older, yeah, but he's the exact piece that you would want. He was great with Cincinnati Bengals. He's been great with the Texans. It's just those 3 weeks he was out against Minnesota, Jacksonville, and Buffalo. Imagine the amount of points he would have racked up again on Jacksonville. A lot of people underestimate him. He would have went to Minnesota. He probably wouldn't have done so great because it was at Minnesota. But then Buffalo would have came in. I think he would have done better than people thought. But he's just such a dominant running back. And he does so good when he's fully healthy. And he is my guy. I've been on Joe Mixon hard for the last 2 years. And a lot of people thought he was Asian out at 26 and stuff like that. But he catches the ball. He runs the ball hard. He's got the body type that you want. He's 6'1", 220 pounds, so he's heavy and he can catch the ball. That's a win-win in any situation. And he was when he played for the Bengals, he was Joe Burrow's go-to guy for screens and anything else. And it's just
when he was healthy.
When he was healthy. When he's
That's
healthy,
what gave the bad connotation to him, was that he was always hurt with the Bengals.
he was. I mean, yeah, he would.
But
go,
he was in.
He would
when
go on a
when
2
he
or 3
was in,
week.
he was awesome.
When he would go on like a 2 or 3 week injury thing, it was what it was. But he's a running back 13 in our league right now. Had he have played the 3 games he was injured for, I guarantee you he'd be a top 5 running back, because he was a top 5 running back. He was, I think, at one point in time, he was the number 1 running back. And it's just, it is what it is. But Joe Mixon, I love Joe Mixon. Dan said last year that dude was crusty. He said earlier this year, and he apologized for it, he was crusty, must does he? But he's just so good.
He still got some of the tank.
He's so good. And he's just, people underestimate him. But when you could get a running back who's been in the last, let's see. In the last, oh my God. Okay, so he got drafted to Cincinnati in 2017. He had 226 yards, right? 2018, he had 1,168. 2019, 1,137. Yeah. 2020, he got injured, 428 yards. 2021, 1,205 yards. 2022, 826 yards. 2023, 1,034. And so far this year, he's got 967, missing 3 games. Okay. So the first 4 seasons, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you guess how many total touchdowns he's had in the first 4 seasons with Cincinnati?
20.
Yes.
For real?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Well,
it.
I'm on fire.
First 4 years with
I need to go play the lot.
First 4 years, First 4 years with the Bengals, he has a total of 24. Can you guess how many touchdowns are a total of 20 touchdowns? Can you guess how many touchdowns he had in 2021?
Was he hurt?
Nope. He had 1,205 yards. No, wait. I'm sorry. That's just rushing touchdowns for the first 4 years. You want to know what the actual total was?
Yeah.
Can you guess?
No.
It was 25 in the first 4 years.
Okay.
Was receiving. In the year 2021 alone, how many total touchdowns do you think he had? He had 1,205 rushing yards. He had 314.
Was Joe Burrow there? Or is that still
Yes. Is exact 2021 was when Joe Burrow was there. Right?
I'm asking you.
Yeah, it is, because Joe Burrow hasn't come up with his 5-year yet.
27.
He in 2021? God, no. He had 16. He had 1,200.
Oh, was that the year he got hurt?
No, it's the year he did get hurt. He had 1,205 yards rushing, and then he had 314 yards passing on 42 receptions of how many passing attempts?
I am not doing this.
Okay,
this can't
fair.
be fun for the podcast.
It's
listeners.
great for me. Yeah,
It's great for you.
Yeah, 314 yards on. He went 42 receptions of 48 targets and 3 touchdowns. 42 receptions, 48 targets. So he had 12 16 touchdowns. This dude's been immaculate, okay? He's been great. He's been averaging about 1,000 yards a year since he's been in the NFL. He's been a
For the
top 10
record,
running back.
I've only had him on his down years, and that's why he was on my 86 list, is because he burnt me. But it wasn't fair. The only fair thing is to fantasy football, because he
And that's
burnt me
fair.
on the 2 years that I had him, and it was probably his only 2 down years.
His 2020
And-
year had to been.
Yeah, he's only had 2 down years, right?
His 2020 year was his worst. 2020 and his rookie year.
So, like, yes, I've been burnt.
So,
I've been burnt by Joe Mixon twice, and it's
Okay.
probably his only 2 down years.
It is.
Which is why, like in episode 3, I put him on my 86 list. Check the episode out. You'll hear all the explanations. But, like, yes, I had to come out and apologize, because this year, this man looks rejuvenated. He looks
He's
legit.
Stupid.
And, like, and so shout out to Joe Mixon. I'm turning a leaf here, bro.
Sorry, guys. We got real.
It's a new year. It's a new year. We're going into 2025. I'm turning new leaves. I will
That's right.
give Joe Mixon a fair shot.
So who's your last my guy?
Oh, well.
Let me guess. It's Justin Herbert.
Wow,
Anybody
way
who
to
knows
build it up.
anybody who knows Dan. Listen, if you go to a draft a Dan and take Justin Herbert, you can virtually trade Justin Herbert from any player that he has on his fucking
That's
team.
impossible, because in every draft, if you draft with me, I have him.
Sure about that?
I'm actually, like, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure. Yes, Justin Herbert is my guy. I
think about that real hard.
because I'm in a lot of leagues, but
I know. I think there's a
I'm
couple
pretty
leagues I was
sure.
like, I almost took Justin Herbert just so he couldn't have.
I'm pretty sure, other than our dynasty or our diner league, the dynasty diner, we don't have Herbert. Clearly, we have Josh Allen. But, like, in literally, I want to say every other league except for maybe one, I'm a Justin Herbert guy. But this isn't new. This has been for years. I've always loved Herbert. He's so good.
Yes, absolutely.
He's so good. And this year, I thought, there were some times where I was like, maybe this isn't it, with Jim Harbaugh, and Greg Roman. And I will say, the footballers even touched on this. I just assumed Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh would see that they can't run the ball like they want to, but they would just keep trying. But they didn't. And then all of a sudden, you see on, NFL on NBC, you got Jim Harbaugh just slapping Justin Herbert in the shoulders on the pads and punching him in the chest in his shoulder pads and slapping him on the helmet. And it's like, who is this dude? Is he okay? But really, what I believe that was in hindsight, because hindsight's always 2020, like, he realized, like, they're not going to win crap with their little running game that they want to run. And they gave it to Justin Herbert. That's all I wanted to see. With Kellen Moore and the last chump, the little skinny dude that I don't even know. That's how irrelevant he was. I don't even remember this guy's name, and he was the coach last year. Okay. But this year, they have truly given the keys to Justin Herbert. And if you didn't watch that Denver Thursday night game, you are missing out. Justin Herbert looked. Did you watch the game?
No, I didn't.
Justin Herbert looked so good. This was like vintage, like second year in the league. Like, freaking Justin Herbert was looking like Patrick Mahomes just has championships, but he doesn't look good all the time.
No,
Justin Herbert looked freaking like amazing, dude. And I'm telling you, Justin Herbert is my dude. And he wins my guy award of this year.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't have any more awards.
That's fair. My last award is Jaden Daniels. Can you guess?
This is curious because I didn't even know why you made him your guy. I don't think I can remember you talking about Jaden Daniels.
I love Jane Daniels. I
Okay.
drafted him in our family league.
Oh, that's where the connection comes from.
Yeah, I drafted him in our family league.
Got you.
I like Jane Daniels from day one.
Okay.
And do you know what? Off the top of your head, do you know what he's ranked as quarterback?
He's got to be top 10.
Take a guess.
All right, tell me yes or no. Top 10?
Yes.
8.
Nope.
What?
He is quarterback number 4.
Ooh, baby.
Because remember,
Ooh, baby.
remember when our buddy was drafting, he said, "Oh, I'm going to take Drake May," and he was like one of the top people to pick. And I said, "You should not take Drake May. Straight J."
By the way, side note, to all you guys, for those of you who don't watch waiver wires, our buddy that took Drake May over Jaden Daniels ended up dropping Drake May, and I picked him up right on my team off of waivers.
Yeah,
for no fan.
I tried to tell him to take Jaden Daniels.
But anyways, that's not what this is about. This is about Jaden Daniels winning the war. But
I tried to tell him.
You know, people look at your waiver drops. But go ahead.
Yes, look at your waiver drops because people have to drop players to get players. But Jaden Daniels is the number 4 quarterback on the season, not as a rookie, on the season. You know why? Because of 432 attempts, he has 301 completions for 3,303 yards. Guess how many touchdowns? Just throw a number out there real quick, Dan.
Give me the stat one more time. Jaden Daniels rushing touchdown?
No, just passing touchdowns. He's 301 at 432 attempts, 3,303 yards, 8 interceptions.
All right. Well, I bet you Zach Ertz has 5. Scary Terry has more than 10. So let's go 17.
Nope. One more guess.
Is it more or less?
It's more.
23.
22 passing touchdowns. Okay. 128 rushing attempts. He has 737 yards for how many touchdowns?
5.
6 touchdowns. Now he also has 38 sacks, but he is the number 4 ranked quarterback in our Dynasty Diner League, and he was my guy because I love Jaden Daniels. I wish I would have drafted him, but I didn't because I didn't get the opportunities. I traded those draft picks.
We all wish we would have drafted Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, but I didn't have the draft pick.
In our Superflex league, I took fucking Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm. There's a Caleb Williams doing a lot.
Jaden Daniels got taken 1 pick before me. And that was the bitch of it. Because I went back and looked at it. Because I had Caleb and I was like, you know what? I think I had a chance at Jaden Daniels. But when
Jaden Daniels
was made me feel a little bit better because I didn't have a chance at him.
Jaden Daniels is my number 1 quarterback to get from that draft. But I didn't have any draft picks really. So, but he's number 4 ranked quarterback right now, and he was my guy. I told our buddy who was in desperate need of a quarterback, I told him, so you should get Jaden Daniels, and he went with Drake May instead. He goes, I like Drake May better this time. Blah, blah, blah. I watch college football, you don't. I said, okay. And look at him now. He's not playing for any championships. So, but Jaden Daniels is my guy. He's just crushed it. He absolutely has, and it's been a great season. If you own him, I own him in 1 league, and he did me great.
I mean, Jaden Daniels looks like the real deal.
He does. He looks so good because he brought Terry McLaurin back to life, which no one ever seen came in.
Nobody saw that coming.
Not even close.
So, after almost 3 hours, Diners, and we appreciate y'all tuning in with us and
Yes, we
sticking
do.
with us. Even if it took 6 different 30-minute breaks to listen to us, we love you. The moral of the story is that Chuba Hubbard is the main man. There's
Well-
really nothing else. If you listen all 3 hours, that was it. Chuba Hubbard.
That's not
No,
it.
I'm just messing with everybody out here.
Dan's trying to get one off.
I just know Dan has a Chuba. That's it.
Yes.
Like that's all it is.
It's got
And,
Chubba for Chuba.
listen, so all right, but real talk, like I know that most of you people listening to this right now, you did not do this for 2.5 hours straight. If you did, you are a junkie like me. I can listen to 3-hour podcasts straight through. I don't know too many other people who can. So if you did, much love, and you are a critical member of the Diner Growing. Listen, I just cannot express how much gratitude I have to everybody who supported us and helped us see through this. We need more comments. We need more feedback. We need people on the Instagram at DFD_podcast. We need y'all to leave comments. Please. I don't care if you leave a review and just be like, these guys suck. It's all good. It helps us out. Do that. Okay? Like if you listen to all 2 some hours of this and you're like, man, I hope these guys fall down some stairs. Thank you. Okay? As long as you leave that review, I want to see in the reviews, I hope these guys fall down some stairs. And you know what? Thank you. We appreciate it. It's the end of the season. This is our first inaugural season. Guys, I don't know what else to say. I'm so thankful for y'all. I'm so thankful we have people who will put up with us, who are entertained by us, and all we want to do is keep striving to be better. It's the end of the year. I hope everybody has a happy holiday. Please turn your notifications on because we got a lot of cool stuff coming out. I'm going to turn it over to Carrie, and then I'm going to sign us out. Statmaster Carrie, what you got?
I just want to say thank you all for sticking with us for our first inaugural year. It is championship weekend. If you made it this far and you're playing for the ship, you sure already know what you got going on. But yeah, I appreciate all of our regular diners and the new diners coming through. Just please like and subscribe. Listen 60 seconds either on YouTube or on Spotify. Listen for at least a minute. That helps our algorithm out a lot. And yeah, we appreciate it. Happy holidays and thanks for stopping by.
All right, y'all. The Super Bowl episode will be out,
Yes, expect
including.
big things.
Go ahead.
Video. We're going to try and video it and get all that stuff together so that way it looks a little bit better and things like that. During the off season, we are going to play around with more video things and stuff like that because that's one of the main concerns for us. But keep an eye out. Dan's going to come up with a recipe. We're going to try and video to making of it and edit and cut it and see how long it takes that to do and how that goes and if it goes good and if we can get it down squared away. But the biggest thing that is going to affect that is how our community accepts it. Okay. So when I say that, we'll make our first video, we'll edit it, we'll put it out. If there's certain things you guys want
You
us to
think these
speed up.
people want to hear about that shit?
Well, it's important to know.
It is important.
It is important.
will give you
if
that.
there's certain parts of it that you guys want us to skip or you're not interested in and stuff like that, you have to let us know because we're not going to know.
They've been here for 2.5 hours.
No, yeah, but I mean, it's just one of those things. Is if you
It
guys,
is a very important thing.
it is very important. If you guys want us to skip certain parts of the video when we make it and stuff like that, just let us know. But we'll try to keep it short and sweet and easy to understand.
Listen, guys, when it comes down to it, we did a long episode today for the season
Super
finale.
long.
It's our holiday party for the diner.
That's right.
All the employees were here. All the employees are in holiday spirit. All the employees are having a good time. Okay. We got crazy football. And I know none of y'all probably care as much as me and Statmaster Carey. But listen, if the Dynasty Diner wins the chip in the first year of the league and the first year of the podcast, is it not safe to say that it was meant to be?
I feel like it is meant to be.
Is it not safe to say that this was all supposed to be orchestrated in a different being level and it's just portraying down on us?
I don't know what that means, but sure.
That's right. It's the holiday party. Have any of y'all ever been to like holiday parties and like things get enlightened? No matter what that means. I want y'all to, all you diners, I want you to think about this because me and Carrie, I'm sure, have our own enlightenments. But I want y'all to think about you going to a holiday party and something that you've been wondering about for a while becomes enlightened at the holiday party. I think y'all know what I mean if you're diners. Listen, we love you guys. We have so much cool stuff coming on. Even if you're not going to tell a friend, which would be a complete loser because we want you to tell friends. But even if you don't, turn on your notifications because we got a lot of stuff happening in this off season. It's dynasty football, man. This is year round. So we're committed. We want you guys to be committed. You guys have been committed to us, all you day ones out there. So for the final time in 2024, with so much gratitude and so many thanks, we are going to do some renovations and we will be back better than ever. The Dynasty Football Diner is closed. Peace.
Thanks for stopping by.